Hello and welcome to the Waco Annual Charity Open presented by Dynamic Discs. We've got live coverage coming to you from the Disc Golf Pro Tour studio. I'm Jeff Spring, and I'm joined in the booth with my friend Nate Doss. How you doing today, Nate?
Doing real good, Jeff. We were just talking about it before we went live. I mean, how excited. I mean, I am. I know you are, and this is a big day right here. This is a big day for both Paul McBeth and Ricky Wysocki. And you know, sometimes in sports, you always want those big matchups. And these two guys, at this point in this sport, this is like an Eagle-Simon battle, and so it's a lot of fun for sure.
It wasn't too long ago that this seemed to be the routine. Every big event, Paul McBeth, Ricky Wysocki. We've seen some other names creep up into the disc golf prominence. Who else are we going to be looking for that may challenge these two competitors?
Man, it's really, really tough, you know, because these guys have just shown that they are really on another level at this tournament specifically. So, you know, it's going to be really tough to see if you know, maybe a Jeremy Coley, Nate Perkins, these guys that have proven that they can play well in this course, you know, Jeremy being the two-time champion. But to be totally honest with you, it's really between Ricky and Paul. And, you know, Paul might have done Ricky a favor yesterday, because there's been a lot of chatter, a lot of talk between then and now. And, you know, let's face it, Ricky's been a little bit under the radar. So could be good for him. Ricky was feeling confident, you know, after yesterday's round. So either way, you know, only time will tell.
Yeah, and we did see some historic play yesterday with Paul McBeth shooting the perfect round, 18 down with an eagle on the last. That was great to call. Let's throw it to the first tee here, Nate, and catch the competitors as they prepare to tee off here at the Waco Annual Charity Open.
Okay. Just like that. Just go one name.
Ricky?
No, I was on just Julia. Paul! I had to call you when they go other Paul.
Yeah, I was there at the memorial when he goes, other Paul.
Yeah, I used to be other Paul. But then it was, Tinder was the one that... I got that one. Solidified Julie. They called me immediately. I was at the airport. Yeah.
Ryan, are you ready for us to go out here?
That was when it's like, all right. Congrats.
That's great out here. You should just change your name to Julie.
Just give me a go signal and I'll cue them here.
5 minutes we got left? 2 minutes. Perfect. 20 minutes.
There's still 2 minutes before the tee off, so we're good. They gave it 2 minutes to tee off here. So
I'll tell. That's you don't want the fans smelling it. No joke. Point. I went and told Taco about it, so I got one.
It's the opposite when it's in today. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's switched up. Going around the practice field.
you're saying we're all ready on your end?
Yeah, leave that flag showing.
We're about good to go when you are.
Okay, I'll go right at 3:30.
Right at 3:30? Okay. Our plan is still right at 3:30, which is another minute or so.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your final round lead card for the 2019 Waco Annual Charity Open presented by Dynamic Discs. First up on the box, put your hands together, representing Innova Champion Discs, Ricky Wysocki. Next up on the box, representing Discraft, give it up for Paul McBeth.
Spot I ran down there.
Next up on the box, representing Discraft, Paul, they call me Ulibarri. And rounding out the box for your final card, please put your hands together, representing Latitude 64 and Legit Disc Golf, Emerson, soon to be Immer Daddy, Keith. Good luck, guys. Have a good round. I thought that was kind of ringing up right there. It was perfect. And I kind of popped it out of my hand like perfect. Very surprising. Well, since they called me Emmer Daddy in one of their videos. Really? Yeah. They already did. Yeah, so whole 7 string, they do that at Idlewild. I flicked all the way up there. And he goes, more like Emmer Daddy.
Which camera's wide?
Let's ask for autographs after the round when it's, what do we say, socially appropriate. Whatever that means. All right? Now, the guys at Deagle, the fans at Deagle last year did a great job. They were nice and loud. I want you guys to beat them, okay? You guys gonna do that? Yeah. Here we go. Woo, woo.
First of all, the 2-meter rule in play?
I don't think so.
That looks in to me, but
It looks in from right
And
here.
here we are with Ricky
I can't say it.
Wysocki on hole 1. We're joining you back from the Disc Golf
Yeah, I think he's in.
Pro Tour live studio. It's Jeff Spring here with Nate Dost, and it's been an interesting start to the round as the players help Ricky try to make a call on his mark here. Interesting start to hole 1, Nate.
Yeah, Jeff, definitely. I mean, look at the crowd today. Amazing stuff. We just have beautiful weather today, right around 60 degrees, just a light breeze. I wonder if weather's even going to be any part of the conversation. And I'm sure, as people know at home, this is a big day for both these players.
Just short on Ricky's putt, and it looks like he will card a par. And you're right, it's a great crowd, Nate. The Texas disc golf scene, turning out crowd in full force, and why not? Because we have got a battle on our hands. We see Paul McBeth pausing with a little movement, lining up his birdie putt. And neither of our competitors are able to strike gold here on the first. Already a much different start than we were expecting, and that we saw from the finish of yesterday with these two competitors, Ricky Wysocki and Paul McBeth, going 16 and 18 down respectively. 2 course records, and of course the new course record is that perfect 18 down. Joining them on this lead card, we have Emerson Keith. He's putting for birdie right now. And cashing in.
Yeah, that's a big day for Emerson with such a big crowd. Sponsored by Latitude 64. You can see there on his shirt, and DD and that whole group. So it's a big day for him. Interesting to see how he'll turn out. But let's not forget about Paul Ulibarri.
Yeah, and as we make our way over to hole 2, let's get a look at the whole preview.
And here we are on hole 2, 516 feet. This is a birdie all day for these players. Really a must birdie. And I mean, after we saw yesterday's round, I would say almost all the holes are must birdies. But really, it's just a beautiful park course style hole. They're going to try to play right to where that guy is down there on the right, or try to take a little bit more of an aggressive line and end up by this B tree, or maybe just past it. From that point, they can go for an eagle putt. But just a birdie for these players, and we have Obi behind it, Obi to the right, Obi to the left. But on a day like today, shouldn't really be too much of a problem for our players. It is just absolutely perfect out.
Yeah, and we see the wind whipping there. It's supposed to be a little calmer than yesterday, as I understand. They are checking the wind, and Paul Ulibarri off to a great start. Got the birdie, gained a stroke on both McBeth and Wysocki. We can see him lining up for his tee shot, leading the way on hole 2.
Yeah, and in the opening there, Jeff, before we decided to take just a little break, we're just talking about how Ricky and Paul were the people to look at and how excited we are about that. But let's not forget about Paul Ulibarri, Eagle McMahon, James Conrad, all these players that if Macbeth and Wysocki don't play well, could come right back into the fold very quickly.
And as Emerson lets one rip, we are looking at a great field, not just on this card, as you mentioned, but down the line. And we'll be updating you with some chase card action throughout this broadcast. So buckle up. It's going to be an action-packed day, just like yesterday. So many players playing excellent golf. And we already see some hot starts as our leader, Ricky Wysocki, lets it fly.
Yeah, and this is the zone they're trying to land in. And again, on a day like today, with just a light breeze, this is really not much for these players, especially what we've been dealing with last couple of days. Birdie is what they're looking for.
Only one par on the entire round yesterday from Macbeth. Already one par on the card today, Nate. And it looks like he's putting himself in a much better position on hole 2. All these competitors off the tee and in position so far to ring up some birdies. But let's take a quick break. We're going to throw it to commercial. We'll be right back, folks.
And then I'll bring us back. This video might be needed.
And we're back here on hole 2 at the Waco Annual Charity Open, presented by Dynamic Discs. We see the crowd forming and the players walking up to their lies. As you said, a must birdie hole. It doesn't look like anyone's in position to run for eagle.
Well, you never know. I mean, we've seen some incredible stuff. At this point, I'm not willing to put anything out of the realm of possibilities. But, yeah, with just a massive crowd today, I think probably a little bit of a perfect storm, if you will, perfect weather. An 18 down yesterday, and they just want to come out and see it for themselves.
Absolutely, and we just got a quick glimpse at the leaderboard from UDisc Live. Head on over to the site if you'd like to keep up with the scores in real time as we see Paul Ulibarri's approach to the basket of 2. Oh no. and he's lost it to the right, out of bounds.
Yeah, we just got a little shot of his reaction. He seems pretty much locked in. That's a huge mistake for Paul Ulibarri. We talked about it, a little bit at the Memorial and a little bit here now with the scores we've been seeing. But if you make a mistake, these guys they're not going to give you any breaks. So kind of a big mistake there by Paul on a hole that is very much birdieable.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to have a long putt for par. He did not take a bogey yesterday. He's looking one square in the face as we see Paul McBeth with just a putter for his upshot, skipping it right under the basket. No problem on that one. We're going to see his first birdie of the day, getting back on track on hole 2.
Let's give it up for Emerson putting it out ahead of McBeth.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
huge.
incredible power from a guy who's small in stature, but he has been rising up the ranks. He finished 7th here, tied for 7th at Waco last year. This is a course he's familiar with, being from Texas, and he sails that a little long, but he should have no problem with that birdie putt. Maybe a little tester early in the day after he started with a birdie, and then the longest drive of the bunch, our leader, Ricky Wysocki, maybe giving this a run. He's not that far away. He's been deadly with his forehand so far. And he just takes it out wide, nestles it up. And as we move to the green here, yeah, Emerson is in a great position. It's a big day for everyone, as you noted, on the lead card. Emerson maybe getting some spotlight that he hasn't really felt before. But all 3 of the other players, with new discs in the bag this year.
Yeah, definitely, Jeff. Me and you were talking about it as we were getting ready for today's show, and yeah, I think a lot of these players have a lot to prove. Trying to verify or have some validity to the decisions that they made in the off season. So, really, Uli, McBeth, and Wysocki all making those decisions, and it's a great thing to see the players being able to. And Yuli just making sure. I think we're going to be dealing with quite a bit of this today with just our fans, but our players are used to this, and so it's something that you're just going to try to make the adjustment and move on.
Yeah, already with a very major-like feel with the crowd out and about early on here. Not able to connect, but he just basically lays that up, and he's going to card his 2nd bogey of the entire tournament, Nate. He was clean yesterday, and not the start he wanted to see, especially when he's trying to chase down 2 guys who threw 16 and 18 down yesterday.
Yeah, so for everybody at home, when you get into these types of groups, when there's a lot of people and the crowd is nervous, and the players are, of course, nervous because they want to win, but things just tighten up a little bit. And it might just take a couple of holes for things to relax. And so we'll see how that comes along here in the next few holes.
Emerson just losing his putt to the left, grabbing some chain, but unfortunately not connecting on his birdie putt. So we're left with our 2 leaders, Paul McBeth with a birdie and Ricky Wysocki with a birdie, gaining back those strokes and more that they lost on the first hole. And we're going to make the walk over to 3 and check out the hole map. Nate, another open park-like hole.
Yeah, here we are, hole 3. You can see it straight away there, 294 feet, elevated basket. I brought in a new word to our other commentators, Redan style hole. I should have never done that, but it's just a slight elevation here up to a high kind of plateau, pretty quick green because of the dirt-like. And there you go. We see a live look at it. No wind to speak of, but sidearm opportunities, backhand opportunities. So I really like the sidearm here. Gets you up onto that plateau and allows the disc to just feed in. If you take the hyzer route, you have to work your way up. It's a slight hill, but you still have to work your way up it.
Yeah, we expect at least 2 of our competitors to take that left forehand route, Ricky being one of them. He took it very, very wide yesterday. We thought he actually pulled it, but he was able to connect on his birdie. And we'll see him go left of this tree, right over his shoulder, and try to skip it back in with that forehand play. And he does exactly that. For you viewers at home, you might have thought maybe he pulled it, but that's what we thought yesterday, and it worked out. So next on the tee, Paul McBeth, 1 down through 2. He chose the fairway driver as well, Nate.
Yeah, him just taking that, I think that's a Predator that he just threw, just taking it out and around those last trees, skipping, and there we saw the speed of the green there. He skipped from the complete right of the green just at the circle's edge, almost to the circle's edge of the other side. So speed of the green really coming into play.
Emerson taking a similar route to McBeth. He's hit his gap. Oh, and a beautiful shot, the closest to the bunch so far. No problems there for Emerson. And surprisingly, it looks like Uli's lining up a backhand as well. I would have expected a forehand. He's got a strong forehand.
Yeah, and really what he's trying to do is pitch into that kind of the, and he hit the tree there. Yeah, he just hit that tree, but yeah, interesting to see that decision for sure.
Yeah, 3 different routes, and our players are off. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Control there, but pretty soon the Woods are going to do that crowd control themselves. Paul Ulibarri is first up. He is checking the wind. The flag's dead, but it looks to be a headwind as we saw the grass just filter back a little bit.
Okay, I'm going to get this putt.
Oh, and he hits the left side chain, splashing out.
Can I tell you something, Jeff? I think on a day like today, being in the second card is a huge advantage. They're not dealing with this big crowd. They're going to play in a little bit of anonymity up there, and we could see somebody jump when we were seeing Simon Lizotte right there tied for third already. So
we're going to get some more pictures of the scoreboard shortly as McBeth lines it up, and he gets it to fall. What a good catch by those chains on the veteran baskets. Dynamics premier basket here at the Waco Annual Charity Open. Let's see if Ricky can match Paul McBeth. No problem there for Ricky, and it seems like our 2 top dogs are back on track after parring the first, and we're going to be heading into the woods now. Let's get a quick look at the hole preview for hole 4, where the course does just take a different turn.
Yeah, here we go. We head into the woods, 441 feet. This is our first wooded hole of the next 9 that we do play. And the players are going to try to throw backhands that skip just into this area right here. They need to get to this area to get around the corner and head into this green. And the green is tough. We saw Nate Perkins go into the water there. So a lot of opportunity of going into that water. And yeah, it's a tough hole, and it traditionally has played as one of the more difficult holes in over the years of the Memorial Championship. All right. I can't believe I said that.
We were at the Memorial
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. We were calling some great action there. And as the crowd filters over towards hole 4, let's give you a quick update. We're back in the studio. Welcome in. We've got Seppo, Simon, and James all tied for third, already eclipsing Emerson and Paul. They are all 5 down through 6 holes. They all took a 4 on this hole, but out of those 3, we could see these guys get into the mix throughout the day today, Nate.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, we were just talking about it, that really being in the second or third card right now is an advantage in a lot of ways, because I really believe that, because, again, as we get into these woods, this crowd is going to definitely affect these players. The crowd is going to want to see what's going on. They're going to want to be a part of it all. And so that's something that we're going to take a look at as we move through these wooded holes.
Absolutely. And here's Ricky. He's going to be leading off the card here, and he's just looking to put a move on the disc that takes it from right to left, just inside the tree in the middle of the fairway there. He's done it, but he did get caught up. Not the reaction on the ground he was looking for. He's going to have a longer approach.
Yeah, he's definitely short of the corner. And it'll be interesting to see the decision he makes there. He was a little bit further yesterday on this exact same hole, in which he did take a birdie on.
Yeah, and as we've noted, interesting, the length of these par 4s and 5s, a little shorter than you're used to seeing on tour, but you have to be technical, tactical, and really position the disc where you want it to be to have the right approaches. Paul's kind of stymied there on the right side of the fairway.
Yeah, he took a buzz there, got it a little bit too flat, and it hit that big tree, and he's definitely going to be stymied, probably just looking to play this hole for par from that position.
Emerson Keith pulls it to the right, and he's found the shul and maybe a spectator or cameraman.
I think that was Johnny Disc Golf. I think he was aiming for him, but he's definitely now playing this hole for par from that position. There's no doubt.
Let's see if we can get a great drive off of here. It's going to be challenging the left side. And where did it end up? We're not getting visual confirmation, but he did make it around the corner. And we're back here on the fairway of hole 4. None of our players with a great tee shot, but they all have the ability to make it up and get onto the green here, Nate. As we see, Ricky's going to be challenged with those 2 trees in the center. But I believe he'll probably try to take it wide. It's pretty tight up the middle there. He does take it around the trees, looking for a skip. We do not see it quite finished there, Nate. And here's next up. It looks like Paul Ulibarri was approaching his lie, just trying to figure out how to play from this right side. Challenging spot. Gonna have to get creative, which we've seen a lot of players do in the woods here.
Yeah, I see him looking upward right now, and that makes me fearful. I mean, every stroke counts right now. I know that we as players, don't get me wrong, I was, guilty of this for a long time, but he needs to just get himself back in the fairway and just play this hole for par. I think we don't want to see anything that could give Paul another bogey at this point.
Yeah. And we know Paul Ulibarri has the mindset of a champion. He's looking to birdie every hole, every event. He's looking to throw a thumber roller, cutting around the corner.
Yeah, I'm worried about this. This needs to sit as it heads down towards it. Ooh.
And it does, moments away from taking a dip into the Brazos River. It catches the shul, and he's going to be right on the edge of the circle. he's got to be happy about that.
Yeah, big time. I mean, that tells me a lot more about really his decision making at this point. And I don't know if he feels as if he just has to do what he's got to do because these players are playing so well. But that says a lot about his decision making. You throw a cut roller on rough ground like that. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one for me for sure.
And look at Emerson Keith deep in the bush. He's probably just going to pitch out, and he does. But breaking news, we have an ace from Alex Russell on hole 8. He has jumped up to the 3rd position now, and he is 8 down through 8. We talked about Alex a little bit yesterday. He is from Vancouver, Washington, and he's currently in 3rd place, jumping over all those guys we just were talking about, Seppo, Simon, and James. I believe he's on the 3rd or 4th card, so he's quite a few holes in front of these guys, already on hole 8 and acing with the shortest hole of the course.
Yeah, awesome. That's killer for Alex Russell. Yeah, as you said, it is the shortest hole in the course, and him just skyrocketing up his name just like appeared from the middle of nowhere on that one. But good for Alex. Congratulations. Too bad there wasn't a car available on that one. But Paul is trying to figure out a way to get himself up to the green. This is a shot we know he can execute, but very little room for error. Beautifully played. It needs to sit, and it does. Incredible shot.
That was perfection on that patent pending stance from Paul McBeth. He had full control, and really, when we talk about control, you know it when you see it. And that disc was never off its line. He had intention every step of the way there. And here's Emerson after his pitch out, approaching the green. A little bit of a bad reaction off of the tree, but he curls around, and he should have no problem cleaning that up for par.
Yeah, no, not at all. And I mean, we had a beautiful view of the route that Paul had to take. And I guess I'm going to say Macbeth just because we have 2 Pauls in the group, but that we saw Macbeth have to take there. And I mean, it was a standstill, and it just shows the incredible amount of control that he had on that shot. And that's a statement because Ricky's here in a position where I don't think there's any way he can run at this position.
He gives it a fighting chance, but it does not go. And so we see Ricky, who's going to have to accept par here.
Yeah, I mean, he gave it a run, but the problem there is, Jeff, is that he's got the the water right behind, so he can't truly go for it. He had to put a bunch of hyzer on it and just didn't make it there. But here we see Uli. I mean, I can't believe he threw that roller.
Yeah, unbelievable shot. Both up shots from the Pauls were really nice to watch. One on the ground, one in the
scary,
yeah.
One perfect. We'll see if Uli can cash in on that risky play that he did take.
See that deep breath. This is important to him for getting back on track. And right in the heart there, great putt. He's moving to 1 under par on the day. And the rest of our competitors have short work here. So as we prepare to finish up here on hole 4, I'll just take a look. And James Conrad has now gone 6 down through 7, tying Alex Russell for 3rd. Oh, and Emerson misses his par putt. He's going to have his first blemish of the day here at hole 4.
Yeah, and the big thing for Emerson is ever since we knew that he was going to be in the card, the weight of Texas, and that's a big state, has been on his shoulders, and it's tough for a guy that doesn't have that experience.
And our competitors have cleaned it up, and we're going to head on over to hole 5 and check out the whole preview for what to expect here. It's a birdie opportunity.
Yeah, here we are, hole 5, up the hill, the tiers. 264 feet. So So we come up to the first tier here. This was really nothing but a flyover at this point. And the players are just trying to get up into this side hill, try to check it up. You can see right there the circle's edge. But this is a birdie opportunity at just 264 feet for our players. And, and again, I think I'm going to be saying it a lot. They're all birdie opportunities. And the main thing is can they cash in on them?
That's right. And Paul McBeth has cashed in on 3 of 4 and already creeping closer. He's one behind Ricky Wysocki, and we're just heating up this battle. Here's the scores. You see Alex Russell, as we mentioned, with that ace on hole 8. Ulibarri has already slipped to 5th place, and we see Emerson Keith just hanging in the top 10. We're early on, but already a shifting leaderboard. We see Eagle McMahon there. And, of course, James Conrad had tied up at 3rd place, Alex Russell. Let's see if Paul McBeth can keep it going. He's 3 for 4 today.
And as that disc is in the air, it's got good speed, just a little bit right. He did hit a tree there, and you can see his reaction. But that shot on the last hole, that second shot for Macbeth, is a big statement against his closest rival here, just 1 stroke now behind.
Yeah, and I mean, is it playing in his head that he wants to keep staying within reach of a perfect round? I mean, we've seen him do it twice now, but nobody's ever done it twice in a row, as we see Ulibarri on the circle's edge, not all the way up on the top tier.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Paul's reaction after the round. It was like, yeah, he did something great. He was definitely happy about it, but he knew there was still a whole round. Ricky pulling this right off the back, taking a nice kick, but going to leave him well back. And that was just a pull off the tee.
Yeah, and something to watch for as we see Rick and Paul already leaving some pars on the card, not as sharp. We saw Paul hit the tree. He's going to have a long, probably, tough look for birdie as Emerson pulls his as well. Not great tee shots here at hole 5, but a lot of people are going to be quickly in this mix if these guys can't keep up their pace.
Yeah, no doubt. And yep.
And here we are. You can see the gallery behind this lead card on hole 5. Not the best bunch of tee shots, but we're all going to have looks at birdie, even if they're pretty long. This is makeable for Emerson.
So one of the big reasons why we do see a lot of nervous play in these groups when players aren't used to it is because all of a sudden the preparation changes. You're thinking so much about what am I going to wear and how am I going to act, and hey, just stay calm, cool, and collected, versus most of the time a guy like Emerson is going out there and just doing his thing. And that's why a guy like McBeth and Wysocki and some of our best players are just so comfortable in that. They're not worried about those other things. They're just worrying and going out and playing. So, it'll be interesting to see how Emerson handles a day like today.
Sure, yeah. This is almost second nature now with this card, this situation for McBeth and even Wysocki. They're used to it. They have their routine based around final rounds like this. And this putt is to tie for the lead, something we have not said for Paul McBeth the entire event.
Yeah, I think he's going to play it just to the right of this tree that you see directly in front of him.
Oh, unbelievable attempt. He had the line. He did not have the height. It just hung up there for him. hitting the band and falling next to the basket.
I think you said it perfectly, Jeff. Interesting grouping of tee shots on this hole. This is not that difficult of a hole. See if if Uli can cash in on our only birdie of this group.
This is big for Paul. He did have the bogey. He's back on track with a birdie. This would be momentum building. And he gets it to go. A little on the high side, but right in the heart. And Paul Ulibarri with the only birdie on this 5th hole. Doesn't change the fact that James Conrad is 7 down through 8 and now only 4 off the pace.
Yeah, definitely. James is getting there for sure, as he's just a few holes up in front of these players. And there's Ricky. That was a very confident stroke. We saw him yesterday talking about how consistent he feels like he's playing right now.
Yeah. And Ricky's not necessarily too far off his pace from yesterday. He shot 16 down. He did have 4 pars. He's got 3 already. But we'll see how he handles this as we going to throw to the hole 6 preview and take a peek at what these players are headed to next.
And here we are. We played up the hill on 5, and now we're going to play just down the hill on 6, 267 feet. Plays very well for a little sidearm. Thing about this hole is all about speed into the green. This is sloping away the entire way, and you need to land it at least 30 feet short if you have any thoughts of getting into this basket within 10 feet. But you can see that little hill there, and they just need to crest it, and they'll finish down there by the pin.
You can see a crowded leaderboard after our top 2 Wysocki McBeth scores there. So if they slip anymore, and by slipping I mean get more pars, we're going to see a ton of players in the mix. It could get very exciting as Paul Ulibarri with a beautiful forehand shot, and he's going to like that. Seems like he's getting into his groove now, Nate.
Yeah, for Uli, Uli is a veteran. He's a veteran of touring disc golf, of high-level disc golf, and we haven't seen his name a lot up on leaderboards in a little while. And so this is really what can be a big confidence boost for him, but also something that is a little bit nerving. And I like this play by McBeth.
Unbelievable control, reminiscent of his upshot on 4, just on a perfect line around that corner. And as you said, speed control is key, and that backhand doesn't skip like the forehand.
No, it doesn't. And if you're going to play the forehand, now Ricky's able to throw a little bit of a slower disc, and he'll be happy with that one. But yeah, if you're going to throw the forehand, throwing something slower is definitely an advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And our players making pretty short work of this hole. Let's see if Emerson can join our other 3 on the green here. Almost hitting the basket. Beautiful flight, but as you said, a little hot. It's in the shul, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back to see how the competitors handle the green.
Two has a long travel after this.
And we're back. We're enjoying the scene, walking along here with the players. The crowd filtering in behind them. A little tougher in these tight woods for everybody to get a view. And to not distract the players. I don't think a lot of the players will mind tapping these short birdie putts in. Really incredible grouping. Everybody really tight inside the circle here. And I expect the star frame if our players can handle their business. But as I mentioned, tight in the woods, a little distracting. The only thing that could stop 4 birdies. Yeah, Uli's looking solid. He's looking very confident with that stroke now.
Yeah, I would say besides the second shot on hole 2, Uli has looked locked in. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, his drive on 3 got a little unlucky, but he put a good move on it. So yeah, you're right. You can't win them all, and that putting stroke is a key to his game. When he's confident with the putter, you see low scores. Emerson with a little bit of an obstructed stance, going to the straddle. And no problem there for Emerson Keith.
Yeah, and as we're just about to complete our 6th hole, being 1/3 the way through the round, I mean, just jockeying for position still, these two guys, 6 world titles between them. And, I think they both want to win, and it's going to be a tight race this whole way.
This is our first major eagle opportunity. We're going to throw it to the whole preview of hole 7.
And here we are on hole 7, the Savage hole, sponsored by Savage Ultimate. It is 462 feet. And as you said, if the players want to go aggressive, they can go sidearm S-ing out this gap and back towards the green. But really, playing it for birdie just means getting out that gap into that open area and then throwing over the little low here onto the ledge. Really a very birdieable hole. But really, the one thing about all of these wooded holes, and the one thing that's truly amazing about what the rounds were shot yesterday, and really this whole tournament, I mean, we've had multiple double-digit rounds. It seems like double digits is the only way to do anything here, is that one kick just gives you don't have the opportunity to birdie. It seems like, but while we have eagles. So, and I think a lot of that has to do with the length. We're just 462 here, so 300 feet. This leaves you 162 feet into the green. So, I think that's why this course plays out the way it does.
Yeah, it was interesting hearing Paul McBeth's post-round interview yesterday, noting that you had mentioned you thought he had dialed it back, going for birdie instead of eagle on some of these holes, keeping it a little simpler and staying out of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, it was impressive to watch that interview because he was saying that he said, I learned from my mistakes yesterday or last year. He was very aggressive, and he's just playing back a lot of birdies here because of the length of those holes. So we'll see if McBeth sticks with that game plan. And if he does, I really do think that he's got an advantage as long as that game plan is stuck to.
And Paul Ulibarri catching early wood and kicking right. He's going to have to struggle to get back into this hole now after finding his groove. We just talked about his 3 straight birdies. It would be very challenging to keep that streak going. Not impossible, as we see our second place competitor, Paul McBeth. We expect him to go backhand here and play for the birdie. He just wants to get it out into the grassy fairway through this tunnel.
Game plan part 1, check. Get it right out in the open.
And 441 feet, that's probably a little over. He's probably under 150 there. So
definitely.
He's got a pitch in a putt. Looks like Ricky's taking the same strategy. Pulled it right. And he beats that side. He's in position A as well, Nate.
I really think, Jeff, that if we go back just a year ago, almost to the day, when Paul McBeth looked like he was going to win this tournament, and he didn't. He made a few mistakes, and Jeremy Colling was able to take advantage of that. But that's got to be going through Paul's mind. And just having Ricky there right ahead of him is just icing on the cake for not only him, for Ricky, for us, for all the fans. So, it's going to be interesting to see really how Paul McBeth handles that game plan and if he can execute it.
And as we watch Emerson with the forehand, that aggressive play, it falls short right. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more disc golf action.
Continue to go to position. I have just as long as the loss is
We're 100% on the mics on these commercials.
You can see another group on the fairway. It looks like potentially a hole 10.
No, it is 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Yuli, and we didn't really mention it. He did take this kick, but this is exactly what I was talking about. One kick, and all of a sudden, Yuli's now he doesn't even have a birdie look. Now he's going to be struggling for par. So the genius of these shorter holes is that, yeah, if you get into the woods, you're stuck.
Shows you the importance of a game plan here. Paul's going to take a knee and go to the forehand, trying to just punch it back out. Well, let's see how aggressive he gets. Got a little zest on it. Man, it's just right in the middle. That's not going to be a high percentage look there. So probably just going to accept his par and move on.
Yeah, I mean, it was perfect execution, really. He was in a bad place. He put himself right in that perfect position. So, good for Yuli to be able to make that decision after taking this super aggressive line back on hole 4. But he didn't have anything. There was just no possibility. And Emerson, it's an interesting position here again because he's only about 110, 120 feet from the basket. And he could bend one in there. I mean, this is one of those shots where it's a 50-50. He's going to line up for it. But yeah, he could bend one in there if he just has enough space.
Taking that patent pending stance with a disc that matches his pants today.
And this is the angle I'm talking about. He just needs to bend it right down over that low. He's doing just that. Oh yeah, gets back up to the top. And Emerson will have a birdie opportunity. Nice aggressive shot by him. I love the commitment he took on that. So nice job for Emerson and just being surrounded by all of his Texas friends. And again, he's representing Texas here in this final round of the Waco Charity. Well, how do you say?
Waco Annual Charity Open, presented by Dynamic Discs.
Stick to what I know, right?
You're not the only one who's gotten it wrong once or twice here, Nate. And we see Ricky with a really weird approach to this shot. He went to a knee, he went to the forehand, and tried to bend it in, and it didn't work.
I mean, that was a terrible shot. I don't know why he went to a knee.
Well, we're seeing it again. I guess it's the high ceiling here. Ricky looked to be in a better position than Paul. I mean, looking at this frame, it makes sense. But, it seems like maybe he could have got it in with a backhand. Paul executes that much better than Rick.
Well, I mean, Ricky went down onto a knee, left it wide, when it seemingly he was just looking right down at the pin. So I'm not sure on that decision. That could prove to be costly.
Yeah, as we see a quick upshot from Yuli, and we're going to head down to the ditch that's part of the green here, as we see Alyssa Van Landen, photographer for Disc Golf Pro Tour events, following closely, trying to get some great shots. And McBeth looks like he may have an opportunity to finally creep into a tie for the lead. We are almost 7 holes in now, so it's happening pretty quickly. And the start of this, of course, always plays quickly. We're about to kind of slow down as we get into hole 9, which is the first par 5. And we may be able to see a little bit of the chase card coverage there as we catch up to the group in front of us. But here's Rick. It looks like he will have a putt. Not many other players you'd want to have trying to cash this out than Ricky. One of the best putters in the world, looking up the hill with an obstructed stance. Oh, no problem for Ricky.
I mean, and while that was happening, I was just thinking in my head, I mean, Ricky has made a career on that. Putting himself, in tough positions, but being able to make that putt. So good for Ricky. Shows where his head is right now for sure.
Saved by the putter there. And Emerson with a nice stroke there. That was a nice scramble for birdie. And 3 of our 4 competitors are going to card the 3. No change at the top as we move on to the hole preview for hole 8. Already aced twice today, Nate.
Wait, twice? Who else?
I just looked at UDisc Live, and it looks like Tim Barham.
All right. Well, we are 213 feet on hole 8. It's the shortest hole, but we have the woods there on the right the players are trying to avoid. And just really the steep drop-off is the one thing on this hole that makes it, just kind of a little bit difficult. But, yeah, shortest hole being ace twice. And so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Tim Barham's in 15th place right now. And he went from a 1 to a birdie 4 and moving up the leaderboard. Hopefully we'll get to see an ace here with the leaders, as it looks like ace is a popular score all of a sudden on this hole. Paul McBeth, you can see him there. Looks like he's going to dial up a backhand putter. And there's a number of ways to approach this hole. You see forehand and backhand. One thing you want to avoid is getting too far down that bank on the right.
Yeah, we were just hearing in our ear, we know there's quite a backup on the next hole. And so these players are really unknowingly, they just need a little birdie here. And then they're going to get to take a break and think about what's gone and transpired through these first 8 holes.
McBeth going low. Wow, right on target. Looks like that just rode right up and probably parked right next to the basket.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen him take that super low line. But yeah, I think he's going to be happy with it for sure.
It just makes me think maybe if you ace this hole, you've made a mistake.
Well, Jeff, isn't every ace a mistake?
I suppose so, because it's got to be coming in at such speed that you would have been in trouble if you didn't get some metal. But
I mean, when I aced hole 1 at the Memorial, I mean, that sucker was OB if it didn't hit the basket. So yeah.
What year was that? Because that was the year that we first saw disc golf kind of break into the Sports Center top 10, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it was 2016, if I have that correctly. I'm sure everybody's out there going, no, it was 2017 or what. Aces are always happy mistakes, that's for sure.
Yeah, and we see Paul Ulibarri have to stop there, distracted by some crowd movement, zoning back in, going to the forehand, pulling it a little left, and getting kicked right. Emerson and Paul both getting knocked down early, and I don't think he's too happy. He's shaking his head. Unfortunate. We know that there's a lot of enthusiasm to be out there on the course supporting these players, but sometimes it can be negative as we see and hear Paul really showing his frustration, Nate.
Yeah, it's in a way he's trying to let out a little bit of it. Just trying to still figure out what's going on there, but yeah, I mean, in a way he's trying to vent a little bit of his frustration, but at the end of the day, I mean, when you have a crowd of this size and woods this tight, and it's really not a big area. I mean, we're not working with a big area here, so there's other groups, there's people, going through the woods. You got cameramen, you got all kinds of stuff. So it's really difficult to stay in and focus. And sometimes you just try to vent a couple words, but he's got to let it go and just move on.
It looks like Emerson is going to give himself a par save, a look, as we can see our players working through this tight hole 8.
Yeah, and as we did the whole preview, that's kind of what I was talking about. I mean, if you get through that first stand of trees, the only thing to worry about is that side hill, downhill basket green area. But unfortunately, both these players getting caught up early. It's not as if a good shot or a bad shot is all that far on this type of hole.
Yeah, and a note about the backup that we see coming up, Nate. How long ago was it that I said Alex Russell aced? 8.
I mean, at least 15 minutes.
And he is not quite done 9 yet.
Wow.
He's still on hole 9. So the action moves quick in these first 8 holes. And then, 9 through 12 is really the grind for these players. And last year, you mentioned it, that's where Big Germ took the lead and kept it from there.
Yeah, well, 9's where the course really is where we get going.
Yeah.
You got par 5, par 3, par 4, par 3, par 5. And the tournament was won in those 4 holes. Yuli just being able to chip out. And it's just as I said just a couple of holes ago, you hit up early and all of a sudden you're battling for par and Yuli having to deal with that now a couple of times. He's made great saves already, but we'll see what he can do here. And Ricky getting caught up early as well.
Giving it a run. Oh, no. The splash out and rolled away. He's looking at the basket in disbelief. I believe he thought that was in the bucket, Nate.
Well, we had a perfect view. And it just decided to hyzer just a little bit to the left at the very end. Of course, he took a little bit of a trickle roll. We don't know exactly where it ended up. But
yeah, and this hole, you would think as the shortest hole would play the easiest, but it doesn't, and we're seeing why.
Yeah, I would imagine most of the holes in the woods are going to be on the difficulty rating between the most difficult to about midway, just because of the difference between the open. Oh, and we see Ricky now lining up. He did take quite a big roll. This is a huge really shift right now because we know Paul McBeth is right there for birdie.
He goes to the forehand and he does not make it.
I mean, that's all he had. He was deep in those woods.
Pretty incredible. If that first putt sticks, we're going along as usual with him with a one-stroke lead that he's had for quite a few holes. Instead, if he's going to take a bogey, and we believe Paul McBeth is parked, so we're going to have a switch of the lead here at the end of the front 9. Going into the turn, quite the exciting hole as Paul Ulibarri is now trying to save his par on what is, it looks like the 5th easiest hole.
Yeah, and Yuli just off the top. Boy, he's not happy at all. And his playing companion just to his right, Ricky, is not happy as well. And here's Emerson. This is for par as well. I mean, Macbeth's got to just be sitting there going, sweet, in a way.
Yeah, and I actually misspoke. It's the 5th hardest hole, Nate, somehow. We've got 19% of our competitors taking bogeys. And we can see why here. We almost had 3 bogeys. As Emerson does make the putt to can his par. And Ricky is very unhappy. His first bogey, I believe, of the event.
Yeah, for sure.
After going 15 down, 14 down, and 16 down, clean sheets, he's on the shortest hole of the course, taking a bogey, and we're going to show you the whole preview of hole 9 as our competitors get nestled in for a little bit of a wait.
Yeah, here we go. We're going to be on 9 for quite a while. Just 519 feet. Eagle opportunities all over this par 5. The players are trying to navigate down into this low area. And we saw Big Germ, who's eagled this hole twice, play this sidearm off the tee, which actually leaves him in better position. And then it's just a sidearm or a controlled backhand up into this green area. And yeah, and I mean, now we just see our players. I believe this is the second card. Yeah, there's Simon, there's Big Germ. But yeah, eagle opportunities. And I do believe, Jeff, right now as we head in to hole 9, we have 9, 10, 11, and 12. And these 4 holes are going to be so important in how the landscape of this tournament ends up. And it was proved last year, and I think it's going to be proved this year as well. And really, whoever comes out of those woods with a lead, with some of these easier conditions as far as wind is concerned, could just be racing to the clubhouse at that point.
Yeah, and we see our catch cam here looking back at the tee, Nate. And you mentioned it. They wanted a quick birdie on 8 because they're going to be sitting on that, thinking about this pivotal stretch And we saw Ricky already take a walk. You know, he's well known for getting out, getting his own space, and contemplating things. And it can't be good going on in his head. He's got to have some frustrating thoughts. Got some time to work through it, but you almost want to just keep playing.
Well, yeah. I mean, Jeff, sometimes I don't know how this works out, but I couldn't have said it any better, I don't think. I mean, they needed a birdie there, and it was unbeknownst to them, by the way. They had no idea. I'm sure they may have heard. But, of course, the players are knowing a backup's coming. They've had a backup on this hole every time. But, I mean, now these guys have to think about not just that they didn't birdie, that they bogeyed, and in a way where Ricky thought he was going to birdie. So, man, and there you go. We see the board. But, yeah, a lot to think about over the next 15 or 20 minutes before we even see our lead card even throw a disc.
Yeah, and some really impressive scores there. Seppo Payu continuing his march up the leaderboard. We saw great scoring from him yesterday. He's 7 down through 8, as is James Conrad. They actually have the exact same scorecard if you look at UDisc Live for the details. Also, good to see him on the tee there. He's kind of been absent from the coverage, but still playing well. Simon Lazat, he's 6 down through 8. He's moved 1 out of 3rd place here. And we're going to see the first footage of Simon from this event very shortly, as soon as the hole 9 is clear and available here. But this battle at the top is what has us all riveted. Now, as the scores have caught up and everybody's played about the same hole, we can see that there is such a significant gap there. We've got a 5-stroke lead for Ricky over 3rd place. And Paul McBeth, of course, won over that. You know, it seems to still be that 2-horse race. And sitting here, going into the pivotal stretch, what do you expect? How do you expect Ricky to respond, you know, after sitting on it? We know it's going to be a challenge.
Well, it's always tough for me to try to predict exactly what's going to happen, but I'll tell you what I think needs to happen. I mean, Ricky needs to make a couple quality shots here. You know, he needs to, get it down the fairway. It's not like Ricky's played bad in any way, just a couple shots here and there. But boy, he made back there on 7, he made a huge save from what was just a perfect position. And so again, as you said, that gap right now with these players is really almost unsurmountable. So this is actually kind of fun. I really like this. We had this last tournament as well, where we got kind of 2 battles going on. Really the battle for 3rd right now is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, it's incredible.
So we're killing 2 tournaments in 1 right now.
Yeah,
but I personally have to think about the shot on 7 and then the way hole 8 played out for Wysocki. It could prove to just be hugely pivotal.
Yes, and hole 8 providing the biggest momentum change of the entire event this far. A 2 for McBeth, a 4 for Wysocki, and here we sit. Paul McBeth with the perfect round yesterday, working on something potentially similar. He is 6 down through 8. Speaking of perfect rounds, Alex Russell is 9 down through 9. Little-known competitor, made his way down here from Minnesota, and he just forward this 9th hole. He's moving on to hole 10 as we see a little action here. Somebody we followed yesterday. Looks like it is Matt Dollar there.
Is that Dollar? Yeah, it is Matt Dollar. But yeah, interesting. It's always one of those things. I always wondered, man, how do we come up on this hole? And there's 3 groups here. But yeah, somebody, and it could have even been a couple of hours ago that we saw something happen, and it's just like a traffic jam. One set of brakes can set off a traffic jam for miles.
Yeah.
The statistics are true on that, and so that's kind of what we're seeing here. And I'll tell you, this second group is a fun group to look at. I mean, you got Eagle, you got Simon, you got Seppo, you got Big Germ. It's a fun one. But I will say, there's some nervous moments going on right now.
Yeah, tied for 3rd on the 3rd card. James Conrad, we see his forehand getting a little 3rd card action in here, and those nervous moments are just going to pile up as we approach the back 9. We're making the turn here at the Waco Annual Charity Open presented by Dynamic Discs. This is the Beast course, Brazos Park East, and it's just been a great setting all weekend here in Texas. And we're going to take a quick break and bring it right back shortly while we wait for our chase card to tee on this long par 5, 9th hole. Seppo Payu. Working on a great round. Gets off the tee, leaking left.
He can sneak through there.
And it looks like he's made it all the way down to the lower tier that you talk about, Nate.
Yeah, there's some sneaky little gaps on that left side.
And Simon Lizotte now on the tee. Great to see some footage of Simon. Star in our early competitions. Second place at the Memorial. He gets caught up. He's in the bushes on the left on this par 5. You really just want to make sure you don't lose your birdie. You want that 4.
Yeah, we talked about that at nauseum yesterday, but I'll tell you, I like this sidearm play here. I mean, it's not the play that I would be able to do personally, but I like the way that if you can dial it up and the way it finishes and he's just got too much heat and it's going to go long, unfortunately, but if you dial it up, I mean, Big Germ, and we're about to see tee off, has this dialed through 2 rounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just finishes up towards where the basket is instead of into the woods.
And our 2-time defending champion on the tee, and he's struggled today. He had 2 bogeys in his first 4 holes. Now we're seeing Chase Card get a little taste of the lead card action with a little bit of a distraction here for Germ. Let's see if he can replicate that beautiful flight that you've talked about that we've seen the first 2 days.
Can he miss that one? No, he can't. You know, I will say this about Big Germ. He's a 2-time defending champion, and really the pressure that is put on, because all these players want to win this tournament, and he's won it the last 2 years. And so that pressure builds not over just through last year or the year before, but you come in as the favorite. You've won it 2 times in a row. So really succumbing to the pressure, and we don't judge Germ on that side of things. And of course we do judge, some of the shots that our players have thrown, but really, good on Germ for really being very valiant in these in those first 2 rounds. I mean, he was on our, premier coverage, and he played really, really well. Just unfortunately, I think the pressure just became too much. And when you have 6 world titles just charging, then there's not much you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a battle for positioning down here. I know all these competitors have a win on their mind, but some of them also are jockeying for tour points on our second Disc Golf Pro Tour event of the year. We have a unique tour championship where you got to make the cut to get in. A lot of these players want to make that and have a chance at the big payday at the end of the year. How much did that play in? I know for you, you're really focused on the win throughout your career, and you have been. So I don't want to, try to put you in the mind of the other players, but I know that it's important to finish it. Top 10. That's a big deal.
Yeah, Jeff. I mean, again, for the folks at home, Jeff has been a caddy of mine in many tournaments, as well as a TD of not only last year's Worlds, but the GMC and the upcoming Portland Open. But, these guys. And I will say that typically my mentality has always been, I only care about first. I only care about winning and nothing else matters. But in reality, that's not true. It really is not true. At the end of the day, all of these players, and I can say this with absolute 100% confidence, they just want to play great. And that if whatever happens after that, it doesn't matter. And Germ just getting caught up and just proving true. If you get caught up early on these holes, all of a sudden Eagle's gone for sure. Birdie is most likely gone, and you're just battling for a par. But to finish my thought there, in the last 5 years or so, it used to be finishing in the top 4 or 5 was the goal. And now it's finishing in the top 10. Finishing in the top 10 of any one of our top level events throughout the entire season has a lot of cachet on it. And so, yeah, these players, to see just one digit next to their finish is bigger than seeing two. So, but yeah, playing great and just letting the chips fall where they may is something that the players of this caliber have become very accustomed to.
Yeah, and as we watch this chase card, as you said, the finishes are important all the way down the board. Eagle and Simon, they're playing well today. They're battling as our top two leaders, having come in first and second at the Memorial. We saw Yale Store provide a great finish in third there. He's not at this event. He's not registered as a European player for many more Disc Golf Pro Tour events. We don't know when we'll see him next. But Paul McBeth and Ricky Wysocki actually tied at the Memorial. Wouldn't it be fitting to see them maybe end this in a playoff, which is certainly in the cards, as we see Simon Lizotte lining up a forehand on hole 9.
Yeah, this is a 50-50 shot for Simon. He's going for the green, but it's just a tight little variance here. Tough to see where he did end up. And I don't know if you remember, Jeff, but right before we went on to the air, I had said how me and Val called that last week or 2 weeks ago now, and it was entertaining. These guys were on the second card. We had chase card coverage, as we have right here, and it became another story. It was Simon and Eagle. Yale was his own story, because we were all rooting for Yale, especially with what Evelina did earlier that day. But yeah, I mean, it's the disc golf fans right now, through 3 major tour events, have gotten the best of the best. And it just shows you how much the offseason means to all these players coming in, playing very, very well.
Yeah, and another European player who is committed to a full-time American tour, Seppo Paiu, representing Prodigy, very involved in that company. And we see a great outshot getting knocked down, still staying in the center, which is really the key here. As we mentioned, length is not the challenge on this hole. It's really accuracy and positioning. How difficult is it for a player to control their disc all the way to the ground on a hole like this where it's hard pan?
Yeah, it's really difficult. I grew up playing a course where hard pan was the game. I mean, if you've ever been to De La Viega Disc Golf Course in Santa Cruz, out on the West Coast, you know, ground play is so important. And again, I mean, it's interesting to me. Yeah, okay, we've hole 18 is a big drive, and so is 16, but distance means nothing in this tournament. And I think Paul McBeth made it very clear in his post-round interview. You can play a little shorter, play to the fatter side of the fairway, and leave yourself a little bit longer into the green, but nothing that these guys can't handle.
Very interesting strategy, course management on display here at the Waco Charity Open, as we see Eagle McMahon taking a forehand, busting out of the shul beautifully, and he looks like he was a little hot.
I mean, he went long. That was awesome. We didn't quite see where it landed, but man, he's put himself up there, and
he's going to be putting for Eagle.
Yeah, you get Eagle for Eagle. I love that call. But yeah, you mentioning Seppo, and Seppo just having a great support system out in Turku, Finland, and what a great guy and what a great character on our stage here. It's really great to see the international players, and I said it just before, Yale. What a story he was, showing how consistent he can be.
It would be great to see Yale more and more. And as you mentioned, De La Viega, that's another tournament that's coming up on the PDGA National Tour schedule. Proud to have PDGA as a partner, and thanks to them for supporting the Disc Golf Pro Tour so strongly. We see their branding all over this event. And you mentioned the Portland Open. The registration for 1,000-plus players is now open. As we move towards the green and see Simon Lizotte lining up a putt over by this bridge. He's left of the green. He's not too far away, but just outside circle 2. And it looks like that was pretty successful. We'll watch Germ's approach here. He had struggled on the hole, kind of struggling through his round, as we've noted. This is his birdie attempt, probably just trying to settle for his par. and nestle that up under the basket. And he went a little long, and we'll take a quick throwback. Looks like the lead card is almost ready to go here as our chase card approaches the green. And finally, after that last hole 8 has marinated well, our players are going to tee off here. Let's listen in on our lead card as they tee off.
Is this guy filming?
Yeah.
He's filming that guy over there.
He's filming the guy.
What's he doing?
It's the live guy.
Good?
Challenging that left side.
It's Emerson.
Yeah, I was.
I was just asking, I didn't know.
Emerson not traveling as far as Paul, but following his line.
I think this is the shot of the tournament up to this point right now.
Good shot. Good shot.
A little lucky. He's in that right side. I don't know if he's going to have an opportunity to go for that green, but with Paul McBeth on the left side, that was a big throw to a statement that he needed to make.
Surprising to see Ricky go back in there. As we mentioned, we've seen a lot of success with those forehands, finishing on the right. Here's
Oh
the
my
backhand
God.
that worked out. Oh, and he gets to roll back towards the fairway. He's going to be in a position to attack the green. We're going to throw to a commercial, and we will be right back on hole 9.
I actually aim for left side, hoping that I pull it down the right side. But then if I peer it, it goes left. And then if I pull it running, if I peer it good, and then if I miss, it's bad. Yeah, you hit the tree. Yep.
And we're back first to the disc is Emerson Keith. He got caught up on this left side. Paul McBeth just passed him. We did not see where his disc finished, but it appeared to be in the shul on the left with Ricky Wysocki over on the right. And as much as we talk about this battle, they have yet to be tied today. Ricky ceding the lead on the last hole, but it was a 2-stroke swing. So Paul McBeth, our new leader, as Emerson Keith lines up. And Emerson's had a pretty good round. He's 3 down through 8, but it's not going to get it done today in terms of challenging for the lead. And right now for him, and as we mentioned, our other competitors, very important positioning on the line. So you'll see him take his time, and every shot is just as important as the next out here where, the position of the disc in the fairway, we've noted, it's extremely important. You see that finish on the left side, not getting out of the shul, but advancing as much as he could have hoped there.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like these wooded par 5s and maybe some of the wooded par 4s as well. It's like a boxing match. It's like if you throw into the woods, it's like you took a good hit, and now you got to try to just stand up and make sure to get back in the middle of the fairway. But if you slice it right down the middle, it's like you just came out and knocked the guy out, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and you were talking about it, how important that drive was to Ricky. And it seems like, he at least advanced it further than Paul, but not into the great position. The left side of the fairway is the better angle. As you mentioned, it's a U-type hole. It's going to keep turning to the right. Paul is pretty deep, though.
He is deep. And like I said, the door was open. And Paul's, on this hole, to use the boxing match terminology, and I know Paul would like that, being a big fan of UFC, but he's got to just put himself back in the fairway. Ideally, he'd be down in the bottom of the fairway, so he'd be looking to still get a birdie here. But he just needs to make sure he doesn't hit anything short right now. He needs to just put himself in position. That's why he's being so deliberate here.
That looked like a pretty incredible out. He's not too deep on that left side where you'd rather be. Pretty impressive there.
Yeah, it really was. We caught the disc as it was flying right there before it hit that corner, and it looked like it had gotten through quite nicely. And while we were in break, we were mentioning the drive that Ricky Wysocki threw and how bad this right side is something to be talked about here. And
our cameraman better get ready because he's looking high. He is in right behind that bush, it looks like. Looking to land back in the fairway somehow, but I mean, it looks like he's going to take the aggressive play on this. Pretty bold. He could just pitch out and play for the birdie, Nate, but I don't believe that's in his mind right now.
This is he threw that over the top shot yesterday. Well, he threw the high spike.
It seemed like he had practiced that one. I can't imagine him having thrown this shot before.
Is there any way our cameras catch this? Let's just hope. Oh, no.
He caught something out of his hand. Did it travel? I mean, at this point, we're just hoping that it got into a place where...
Well, those people are moving, so, I mean, maybe he got up.
Oh, he's probably in that thicket.
If I could break that down, Jeff, just for a moment, it looked like as he was going for that over the hand shot, the disc hit the branch literally right in front of him, and he just powered through it.
He was asking there. He doesn't seem very concerned, and his competitors know that it advanced up the fairway a good bit. It looks
his blood pressure's high right now, though. I promise you that.
Not the restart that he wanted after the bogey at 8. He's 2 so far, and he's hoping to get up and in for his birdie, or else it's going to feel like a bogey.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And here we see where Emerson finished. So, yeah, he's still battling here. Outside opportunity still yet for a birdie on this par 5.
We might even get to see Paul Ulibarri throw again.
He did throw an amazing drive.
He threw a good drive, right? He's way up there, too.
A backhand, even. He got it to turn over late, which was awesome.
So this is important for Emerson, wanting to represent Texas in the top 10. Speaking of Texas, one of our featured players tied from yesterday, Nate Perkins, tied with Emerson at 9th. He's 6 down through 9, putting together a nice round. A nice close-up of Emerson here.
It'll all depend, Jeff, if he climbed that hill, if he's going to have a birdie look, and it looks like he might just be at the bottom. He'll still have a birdie look from there.
And Paul Ulibarri is still walking. That was the catch cam at the green. He is way, way up there. If he can stretch out here, it looks like he's going to take a knee and kind of a lean-out sidearm. If he can get a line, I mean, this is absolutely going to be an eagle look.
Oh, for sure. At this point, it's just about finding the release angle. You can see him practicing it right there. He's saying, okay, I just want to put this is not an overstable driver or an overstable mid. Put it with just a little turn and flex it right back.
Oh, and he just catches the left side tree. Oh,
You could see his frustration as well as ours. We wanted to see that.
I wanted to see the eagle for Paul Ulibarri there. And Macbeth's back in a good position here. So he's kind of following his game plan. Even though he didn't have a great drive, he's in position for a birdie. And he executes.
Yeah, a little skizzle away. We're going to see how far he is right there. Not too bad, a little uphill putt for him. But yeah, Paul making really a great shot out of those woods. Now we're going to see where Ricky is. I guess Ricky's progressed up the fairway enough to be even ahead of Paul.
And if our viewers at home watched last year, Ricky looks to be in the position that Macbeth was last year when he made his eagle to go 10 down through 9. So a little more success than we thought for Wysocki on that overhead.
It's like a chess match.
Yeah. For eagle. It looks like he has a line, Nate. Oh! And he's
big
running it
fist
down.
pump.
We get a little mini raptor leg there, but he is zoned in. He's not even cracking a smile. He says, I want that lead back, and I'm determined to take it. Ricky Wysocki striking from the deep woods.
We should not be surprised at all. That was incredible. That was an incredible putt.
It developed so quickly. We thought, hey, Rick's in trouble. Nope, eagle.
Incredible. I can't say it enough. What an amazing chess match we have going on here, and we're going to see what most likely will be our first tie with these guys. Incredible. And Emerson frustrated. Yeah, he wanted that birdie badly.
Well, when you see a putt twice the distance get dunked in your face, you feel like you should make it. It's what we call getting big putted. He had a tricky putt though. You can't make them all, Emerson, and he's represented himself really well here as we see Macbeth try to hang on to a tie here at this point.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, this has become the heavyweight bout that we've been talking about, we've been wanting, we've been predicting, and we hope all you disc golf fans are at home are really drinking this in and enjoying it as we close out our front nine coverage here at the Waco Annual Charity Open, presented by Dynamic Discs, one of the most exciting courses on the Pro Tour, the Brazos Park East Beast course. We're going to throw it to our Hole 10 preview as we make the turn here at Waco.
And you are right, Jeff. We've made that turn finally, and it was about a 22-minute backup on that hole. It took them to play anyways, and 591 feet, I think, one of the more picturesque holes here on the Beast, playing just this beautiful park golf right through these trees. You want to try to power it through that right-hand gap, finishing left. We saw Paige Pierce eagle this hole earlier, and they play from a similar tee, from what I understand. So, yeah, everything's possible here. Birdies, eagles, pars. But I honestly, that putt by Ricky Wysocki is why we play disc golf. It's why we do what we do. It's for that feeling. It's why the fans watch. It's why we're doing live coverage, and it's why Ricky is a multiple-time world champion. And I have been in the group. I've had the one-stroke lead against both of these guys and seen them cash a putt like that and then just say, see you later, Nate. I know you're good. You were, but we're here now. And that's great to see. I really do love to see these guys take on that persona and continue to play wonderfully.
Here on hole 10, Wysocki has taken the initiative, and we see the group in front. The chase card will bring you a little bit of coverage with the chase card here as we're dealing with another backup here in this important stretch, 9 through 12 in the woods. We will see play slow down. The first 8 holes flew by as we see Eagle McMahon launching a disc. It looks like his drive may have gotten caught up early for him to be in that position. And the crowd here is just wonderful. We've seen them disturb the players at times, but we know the players appreciate the support and the interest in this Waco event. Texas disc golf community coming out in full force. Let's listen in a little bit here on the tee as our players talk and wait.
Juice it. Take so much room.
And we're going to move up and see some chase card action as we switch to our other camera and see Germs approach here, Nate. You know, let me know what it's like. Most of the time it's friendly banter, but in a situation like this, it's starting to get tense and you're sitting right there waiting next to your competitor.
Yeah, again, it's why we do what we do. I mean, you absolutely love it. I mean, I've played in basketball games where, you know, you're on the foul line with the guy, you just want to just crush it over him. And yeah, you're right. It is getting a little bit tense. I will say this, of our top level competitors, what a great shot of Ricky. And Ricky does this quite a bit.
This could be a framed photo. This is what Ricky does. He gets up in front of the group. He needs to keep his mind, you know, on the action that's going.
And I think I said this even yesterday. We saw Big Germ and Dollar. They were rapping and beatboxing and just having a good time. I said one person's not a part of that. It's Ricky, because this is what Ricky does. I mean, Ricky finds his own quiet space and contemplates exactly what's going to happen over the next hour and a half or so. Our champion will be crowned here in probably an hour and 45 minutes maybe. And don't get it wrong. I mean, we're not the World Championships, but right now for these guys, it all matters. Big crowd and a beautiful day, early season. It's everything you want.
Simon Lizotte in the mix for a top 3 finish here. Beautiful upshot. Looks like he's pinned for birdie. We saw Big Germ throw his approach. Another beautiful shot. And look at this drive from Payu. Just a jump putt, and he's under the basket. Gives us a little preview of things that may be coming with our leaders on the tee. They're probably going to let this group fully clear because they can challenge, you know, the outside of circle 2 with their drives. You know, it is a long hole, but not so long that they can't get up near the green at 591 feet.
Yeah, so the women's tee is 100 feet shorter, but I will say this. I watched Paige Pierce nail a 60-footer for eagle on this hole earlier today. So, you know, I mean, yeah, 591's a long ways in the woods, but these players are doing incredible things these days.
An eagle for birdie after getting knocked down on his drive. His upshot landed here. Oh, that was pure, Nate.
That was so pure. Just outside the circle, like he was putting a 10-footer.
And his putting style is pretty unique. He keeps that hand a little higher, spin putt, drive right at the basket on a line. Yeah,
him and Simon have that in common. They both have just beautiful spin putts. It's almost Frisbee-like. Saw it right there. It's a perfect example. He's just spinning it to his friend. He's just tossing it to his buddy. And that's why they make so many putts.
Both of them carding birdie 3s here at the 10th, the start of our back 9, as we watch some of the best disc golfers in the world make the turn here at Waco. Germ, great to see him cash in for his birdie as the chase card winds down. We're going to throw it back to the tee and see some lead card action. Ricky Wysocki is going to be up first. You see him preparing. Let's listen in as he starts the back 9.
Does it tell you anything, Jeff, that these guys have cleared the green and the players are still waiting because they want all the fans out of the way, and they are going for the green. See, the thing about this hole, Jeff, is that if you get clean, you could be way up there. But there's a lot of opportunities to hit early, which again, that's what this beast, this set of 9 holes in the woods is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And a big shout out to the tournament crew here. There's a small army of volunteers and staff on the course trying to create the top-notch competition environment for these athletes. And here goes Rick. He pulled it a little bit, working back.
All about the skip. He hit early and actually it slowed him down, kept him right in the middle. So he'll be just fine. He should have a fairly open look at the basket from there.
We're halfway through this heavyweight bout. McBeth trying to answer after Wysocki strikes gold with an eagle on 9.
Got to flex just a bit. The crowd kind of, they like it. It's way up there. That's why the crowd's giving him that. So he should have at least a decent opportunity. He's got to be careful here. This is the skip that can take you into those woods. Oh, and he gets a nice kick out. He doesn't even know that happened. But
no, and he may be a little concerned about where that finished, but he got a helping hand from one of the friendly bushes on that left side. Emerson rounding out our foursome. All of our competitors getting close to a full flight of the disc, and we're going to throw it to a quick break as our competitors walk up to make their second shots. As we watch the competitors make their final approach to their drives, just want to note that Seppo is 9 down through 10, tied for third with James Conrad. Some of these chase card and third card competitors really taking the initiative here in challenging the lead card. We see the gap between our top 2 competitors, Wysocki and McBeth, who are 5 strokes clear of third place. Really a 1-2 punch here as we see Ricky stepping up. You can see the basket. Nate, is he going to swing this right to left or take the tunnel shot?
No, I think he's going to go just to the right of that tree with a stable disc. He needs to, he's got that clear. Now if it sits, he's handled that very nicely, and he's happy with it as well, thanking the crowd. But yeah, he left himself quite a bit short. But this is just a beautiful hole. I really like this hole, number 10.
And just a big shout out to the Disc Golf Pro Tour crew out there, delivering some gorgeous pictures on a beautiful day in Waco. And here's where McBeth settled in. Can he respond as Ricky has put it inside the circle, looking good for his birdie? Can Paul match it?
A little short there, just a little bit too much turn, and being a little that he was further right, he had to put a little bit more of a turn on that. He's going to beat the circle's edge, but we've seen these guys make that. That's actually the area where Eagle just made that putt from, his birdie putt as well.
And we may not call that a mistake, but it wasn't what he wanted. And in disc golf, our bunkers aren't sand; they're the bushes and foliage around the green, and it looks like he got caught up in one right on the right.
That's perfectly said. And somebody we haven't talked much about is Uli, but Uli going along nicely. I'm sure he would have wanted more. This is just looks beautiful, and it is. Nice job, nice shot there by Uli. I think right now is where we do come back into the fold and say, well, listening to McBeth and in his post-round interview saying, well, I need to play these holes a little bit different. This is last year right here. He bogeyed this 10th hole. Then he double bogeyed the 11th hole with a rollaway, 2 rollaways. And so, he needs to get through these 2. I think if he gets through these 2 with being 1 or 2 under, then, the sky's the limit. But yeah, this is right where he lost the tournament last year and probably where that new mentality is coming from.
The beast showed McBeast its teeth last year, right around now. And we'll see if it happens again as he's gliding along effortlessly right now, 7 down through 9, having caught Ricky Wysocki, who's 5 down through 9, on this lead card as we watch Emerson Keith, the native Texan, and he's in the same bunker that Paul McBeth is, maybe with a little bit of a better stance. He's kind of trying to hang on to that top 10 finish. Same with Paul Ulibarri. They're both 3 down for the round as we approach the green. This is what we're going to see next, but before we get into the full hole preview of hole 11, we're going to go to a massive putt. It looks like he's just outside the circle. He's not very obstructed, Nate. But this is from almost 40 feet.
What a beautiful view. I just want to watch this.
Unbelievable. It was in the basket and just grabbed that back rim, gained a little energy, popped out the back.
So yeah, now chess move number 2. If we see, well, maybe 3 at this point. We've had a couple of chess moves, but now swinging back Ricky's way. So he's got this putt. It's circle's edge-ish. And, he's just up there just a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, boy, that was a good putt by Paul. Just a little bit right and low and swinging out.
Could have just as easily stuck in the basket. It does not do it. And we throw over to Emerson as we know Ricky's waiting with bated breath. He looks excited to putt, Nate.
Definitely.
See, Emerson having put on another layer. It is 60 degrees as he just glances off the chain.
Well, being that he's from Texas, it's still winter for him. So he's a little chilly. But here's Ricky.
Look at the crowd. And they erupt for Wysocki. You see the fist pump. That meant a lot to him after surrendering the lead 2 holes ago. He goes boom, boom, left, right, and he's back in the lead. 1 stroke over Paul McBeth. And Paul, after just lipping out, got to be a little disappointed, and the momentum is back in Wysocki's corner.
Yeah, and Paul might be feeling like, oh man, I lost strokes last year on these. I don't want to lose them again. We'll see what I think just this next hole is going to tell us a whole lot. But yeah, good birdie there by Wysocki.
And who played the hole the best but Paul Ulibarri with a really park job approach. And we are going to now throw it over to the rest of the hole preview on hole 11. And this seems very innocuous to me at first glance, but it's proved to be a pivotal hole in the past, Nate.
Yeah, hole 11 is right here, and we see it. You see the path there. That's just where the tee is. But as we go through here, we go up the hill, and really the big challenge is that it is up to this tier and up to the final tier, the basket being located on a really sharp sort of drop-off right there. You can see it. And there's a multitude of ways that you can play this hole. Backhand sidearm, as we see that crowd. Look at that. I mean, that's a good crowd. But I don't want to get too distracted. Sometimes I get distracted by that.
It's okay, but there are two ways to play. Straight ahead as the drone flies, that's a little tighter. I've seen a lot of the players play out right to that little bit more open lane, trying to get up onto that plateau.
Yeah, I mean, if they can work a sidearm, I like coming into the hill with a sidearm. We saw Jeremy Colling play this hole the best yesterday. But and Ricky's lining up for that sidearm. If they can just end up into that hill with a sidearm and not roll, then that's the best position. It's a tricky little hole, though. Hole 11 is very tricky, especially when you get up to the green.
As I said, it seems innocuous on first glance, but really has some teeth. It's Rick with a beautiful drive, buzzing the basket. We don't know where it ended up. Our cameraman dancing out of the way of the disc. Looks like it was a little long. May have an obstructed putt, but he's certainly inside the circle.
I think that was the one time when Ricky would have wanted to hit the cameraman. Cameramen are a part of the course at this point, just like any tree. Ricky got incredibly lucky on this hole yesterday, and Yuli playing that one pretty well. It all depends on the ground play.
Oh, wow.
He's shrugging it off. He does not like that it kind of skipped into the bush.
It's a skizzle.
It's a skip, a skizzle. Got a little juice on it, a little zest, and we see a competitor making a different choice, going to the backhand. I believe he'll play this a little to the right, trying to just get up pin high on that plateau.
If he gets to the right of that big tree, he can get up top. Yeah, that's going to be a tough putt, and you can see it on his face. That's a putt towards death, but he's at the edge of the circle, so this could spell disaster depending on how it all goes down.
Exciting stuff here on hole 11 as our final competitor of the group tees off. We'll throw it to a quick break and be right back here at Waco. And we are back here at hole 11. We have some nice scenes. Tournament director Ryan Draper in that final frame in a big theater doing the players meeting. Great work. I mean, unbelievable tournament pulled off here so far. We just can't wait to see how it finishes. Enjoying every moment of this action. Tracking all the scores as Emerson gets a very nice deflection, a little tree love, as we say in disc golf. And looking at the scores, Seppo Payu really taking a hold of third place now, creeping within 4 of McBeth, 5 back of Wysocki, and he is 10 down through 11, on pace to potentially get that perfect score of 18 down with eagle opportunities in front of him.
The card doesn't look much different from Macbeth from yesterday. And speaking of Macbeth, this is
a
Macbeth putt. I can't believe here we go. This could spell disaster. It's on the range where he wants it, but what does it do if he misses?
He's committed. Oh, and he splashes out and goes down that hill. Where will he end up?
Man, it's eerie how close this is to last year. He did that exact same thing, then from below, hit the rim, rolled back behind himself, and that's how a player like Paul McBeth ends up with a double bogey. But hopefully for him, I mean, we of course, we're neutral here, but just calling it like we see it. But man, it's eerie how close that is, and Ricky just has to pitch.
Well, and it's interesting to see Paul be so aggressive with the consequences there and the memory of last year. It is a testament to how Ricky's been playing, I think.
For sure.
Because he knows that, hey, Rick has a one-stroke lead. I can't really afford to let any opportunity go by, even if it's risky. And I think Ricky's pitch out maybe was in response to seeing Macbeth's roll away.
Well, yeah, we just saw Ricky being a little bit frustrated, and Ricky does that a lot, and sometimes as a competitor against him, you're just frustrated. But because he's just pissed because he didn't birdie. But yeah, maybe a good thing for him on this hole.
This is one of the Pauls. We don't know which one. I think it's McBeth.
No, this is Ulibarri. This is where the skizzle ended up.
That's why we saw the look of consternation on Paul Ulibarri's face from the tee. How can he do?
Oh yeah, that's a mini fist pump. And look at him. There's the smile. That a boy, Yuli, getting it out of the woods.
Turn that frown upside down, Paul, as we watch everybody else tap out. And
well, we still have one player to complete this hole. We have no idea where. There he is. We see his disc now.
It looks like he does not have an obstructed putt, so he should make fast work of it, taking his time, making sure it's going to be in the center of the bag. And it is. And that is the story of hole 11. Could have gone awry, but our leaders just took our 2 pars as we throw to the hole preview at hole 12.
As we just saw, Yuli was showing everybody what he did. He's proud of it, and here we are, hole 12. It's a massive right-hand turning hole, playing right the entire way. Sidearm or backhand off the tee. But as we saw yesterday, it seems as if a backhand is the best opportunity to get up to the pin as you come up the hill here. As you crest this plateau, you're still about 55 to 75 feet, depending on which side, from the basket. And it's funny just seeing Yuli do that. And Yuli's like that. He'd be like, hey, come here, look at this. Look at what I just did. But I can't tell you, I was just nervous on that putt for Paul. I mean, his other competitors just tapped out, and he's left down there to make the 20-footer coming up the hill.
Put it right next to that picture.
I mean, good putt by him. Not a way to just forget about last year.
Yeah, and the tension is building here at the Waco Annual Charity Open. I'm Jeff Spring. I'm in the booth here with 3-time world champ Nate Doss, lending us some of his expertise and experience to color comment this great broadcast the Disc Golf Pro Tour is bringing to you live here at Brazos Park East in Waco, Texas, presented by Dynamic Disc. Big shout out to Dynamic Disc and all they're doing to help support this event and the staff who's doing just an absolutely wonderful job. We see big crowds out there and the tension's building as we head to the home stretch.
Oh yeah. I mean, the tension's building right here. I mean, we're feeling it. Absolutely. We are. And boy, what Ricky was able to do just back on hole 9 after that long wait, bad tee shot, hits the branch, still cashes it. And it's one of the reasons, and I don't think I've ever said this live, but I used to call Ricky Wysocki the hedgehog. He just bounces around, and he's really Sonic the Hedgehog, and he just starts banging baskets. Ching, ching, ching. This is Ricky Wysocki of 3 years ago. And his post-round interview, very different from Paul's after yesterday. He was very confident, feeling that his game was right there. Didn't even mention anything about the scores, which is something I think is so important to remember. And so, yeah, a lot of fun with where we are right now.
With what could have been a course record 16 down being eclipsed by Paul McBeth's perfection, 18 down. These competitors aren't quite on that pace, but Seppo Payu is. He's one off perfection with eagles in his future. Will he get it done? He's got a great experience, and it's maybe time for a breakthrough for him as well.
Yeah, regardless if he goes 18 down, I mean, I can't believe that's even something we're just talking about. But yeah, if we could pull it up here, Jeff. But Seppo's one of those guys that when he gets rolling, he can really get rolling. And we know that Seppo is on hole 12 because his score hasn't come in. But we'll see the chase card right now. And here's Eagle. But when Seppo gets rolling, he gets rolling. He's shown that the nerves do get to him in the past. And so that will be a big, big thing for him and be important right now for a guy like Seppo to just have that breakthrough and, oh no, Eagle going high into the woods.
And Eagle playing well. He's 8 down through 11, but not his best effort right there. You have to keep it high, and we'll get to the whole preview eventually on this hole, but if you've been watching the broadcast for the last few days, in front of Simon Lizotte, who's going forehand, is a slope. At the top of that slope, it travels about 60 feet back to the basket on this plateau. A lot of these plateaus and slopes all over this Waco course. It's right out of his hand, and he's not going to love it. Although he is up top, he may have a look there. And here we find ourselves on hole 12, the crowd building for the chase card.
Yeah, this is our 12-foot cameraman. And I love this little view. We saw this yesterday as we just have them waiting for the players, and that is important for the players to be able to make their way up the fairway. But, yeah, we did see in the whole preview. And really, Jeff, I mean, this is the last hole in the woods. We don't have any more woods to really deal with. I mean, we have some big trees as we get into the park side of the course. But one of the things we talked about is that up to this point, once they entered into the woods, they haven't had to throw very long shots. And as we come out of the woods on 13, it's a big drive. Then we play 15 big drives, 16 big drives. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly they can make that transition. Being that it basically seems as if wind's not going to be a big problem.
Yeah. And Eagle tied with Simon. 8 down on his round. Simon's 9 down. They're both tied for 5th. We talked a little bit about Alex Russell. He's on the card in front of this one, or maybe even 2 in front. But he's 12 down through 14 with the ace on 8, one of the 2 aces on 8 for the day, as we see Eagle with a nice out. He should have a long look, maybe trying to save his birdie from circle 2, and this is an Eagle opportunity as we get ready to go back to our lead card. It's going to be really interesting to see how Paul attacks this. Now, one back in the position, maybe wanting to go for an eagle, but we know his game plan is for birdie, Nate. Do you think he changes that up at all with the calculation that Ricky's one ahead?
Well, and I don't think this hole specifically is a type of hole that Paul was talking about, because really the tee shot really requires them to get down into that low area. And then it's really about trying to execute a shot. We're just shooting back to the tee here. But as you can see from that shot, the shot is to just get it down there. And now we've seen Ricky put a jacket on. So I think just a little bit of cool air moving into the area.
It'll be interesting to see when we leave the woods what happens out in the open as Ricky tries a forehand around the corner.
A little wide.
Yeah, and he gets knocked down. That's not going to be a prime position to attack the green from. An opportunity maybe for Paul to take the initiative, playing with that forehand. Let's see if he can throw a disc in the center cut of this fairway.
And as we were just saying, it's all about position off the tee, and really everything on this hole comes down to the second shot. It really, really does, because of how difficult it is. But if they can get onto the upper plateau, eagle opportunities will be there for our players.
Emerson with a nice line, tucked up on the right side. You'd rather be on the left. Wysocki is on the left with McBeth right in the center. He did get stumped, but it stuck right in the middle as we're going to throw to a break and be right back.
To repositioning.
And we're back. The chase card has not cleared. We're going to get you some footage, a live look at the green with the Crush Boys, Simon and Eagle, along with Big Germ, a lovely cast of characters here on a delightful Saturday afternoon in Texas. Step Up Hayu with the hot round of the day so far. And that continues as he taps in for, well, par.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate par. I mean, but yeah, it is what it is. I think at this point, Seppo, let's not worry about an 18. Let's just worry about playing well.
Yeah,
And so he's still doing that. You know, he'll still have many birdie opportunities coming in.
yeah, and we see Paul starting to maybe think a little harder about what's in front of him here. We saw him walking around, swinging his arms. He's really, I think, zoning in for this last push here, Nate, and maybe not feeling super comfortable with his position being one back and contemplating, is he going to be aggressive? It bit him last year. He changed his game plan, or is he just going to play for the birdie? It's all coming up as soon as this chase card clears the green. They're walking away, and I think Paul has probably made his decision, walking with a little bit more confidence back.
Yeah, I'm not even going to speculate, but look at that. Our two players right next to each other.
Intensity building here.
I mean, Paul's far back. I mean, he's at least 50 feet back from where he was yesterday.
I'm surprised to see him as the first to play. That stump really stopped the momentum. He is going back in. We're going to expect to see him challenging the ceiling of this forest.
Oh, yeah, he knew it right away. It was high. Oh, yeah, look at that reaction. I mean, that says it all.
As you mentioned, a little too high. Giving the initiative to Rick, and he's a little bit clearer than I thought off the tee.
Great angle.
He doesn't like it. And we do not see it finish, but it is not an Eagleville.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. I mean, I talked about it so much, but it's one of those things where I think as a player you look at it and go, if I birdie this hole, especially with his closest competitor not going to eagle, it's fine. He's, in fact, with a birdie, he still might gain a stroke after that shot Paul threw. So
interesting with the eagle opportunity, they certainly want to card the birdies as we see Emerson getting knocked down further back. That's going to be a tough up and down. We do not know where Ricky Wysocki is lying. We do know Paul McBeth has a good angle on the green, should be able to save his birdie with a quality upshot. And we're throwing back over to Uli. He had the best drive of the bunch, but he is tucked on that right side, needing to work the disc left to right. He's going to go way up high in the air. And if it is true that he's going to throw forehand,
I think he's going backhand.
Yeah.
He did this. He did this same thing yesterday.
And he actually found great success with this yesterday. He wants a late turn on the disc, able to keep it high enough so it does not cut roll on that hill.
I think he actually threw a roller. It looked, yeah. I mean, he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's up on the hillside. I think he threw a roller.
Yeah, I don't think he minds where the disc finished. We didn't catch it, but he looks fairly pleased.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because, and again, it just shows you the margin for error on these holes is so thin, just a few feet to the left or the right, and all of a sudden you're having to come up with something that is just crazy.
Emerson not putting himself in a position to have a good look at birdie. And this is an important part of the course. We've said it a couple of times. There are these key moments, 12 and 13, transitioning from the long wooded par 5 out into the open. We've seen players struggle with it, and mostly because they're not throwing full max distance shots right here. You noted it yesterday, and we're going to see if that transition is going to catch anybody again today.
Yeah, right now, the only thing that Paul McBeth is worried about is, can he get this up onto the green? Luckily, with how bad that drive was, luckily he stayed near the edge.
And it just tells you his mindset. I mean, we saw it on hole 11 as well. Like, he is reacting anytime he's missing a chance to card a birdie or an eagle. He wants to be perfect, and I think he knows he needs to be, because Ricky's not letting up either.
No, not at all. Important to see his reaction no matter what happens on this shot.
He sneaks by that last tree.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Loving it.
Great ground play. Good reaction from the wood chips. He's right in birdie range.
Yeah, I believe that was a zone for him. He likes to throw those sidearm. They're pretty stable for him, I guess. And yeah, that was a big shot. I mean, I hate using the word huge, but with the reaction we saw after the second shot, for him to be able to do that, I think is big.
Yeah, and we're on a search in the woods for Paul Ulibarri on a beautiful afternoon here. And he's found his disc. It looks like he's got plenty of options. Don't expect him to be super aggressive. Just trying to nestle this one up as he's playing for position, hopefully not getting into any more trouble than he's been in so far. Let's take a look. He's fighting to get into the top 5. He's tied 6. Other than his bogeys on holes 2 and 8, he's got a lot of blue on the card. Sitting 5 down. And here's Rick. I think he's found his disc. I'm interested to see where he settled, mate.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be important for us to know where Ricky Wysocki is going to be, because if he has a look at all, we know he's going for it, first of all. But also, if he makes it, that's it could be right back to that 2-stroke lead. So, we'll see. Oh, that's a good out by Uli.
Uli with the nice approach. Of note is Alex Russell's march towards the finish line. He is 13 down through 15. We see Emerson lining up his approach. But, man, he is the one who got the ace on 8. He's gone on a turkey run. He's got 3 birdies in a row as he goes to hole 16. And if he could post the score, it may be a pretty good challenge for all these players chasing third place to go and get.
Yeah, as we said, and here we see Ricky.
Wow, we did not think Ricky was this close. He is in circle 2. Can he make a big statement with a long-distance putt?
Nope, you could see it in his reaction.
He did not make it, but he is right there for birdie. So we're not going to see any change at the top with both of our leaders parked for birdie here at the par 5 12th.
Look at the crowd. They're just trying to peek through and see everything. That's awesome.
And good to see Emerson cash that out. He struggled on this hole, but he still made his par.
Ricky's back there too.
Oh, Ricky with a little bit more zest on his eagle attempt. No problem with the cleanup birdie. He is not happy. He wanted the eagle. Actually, you know what? We must have missed one of Ricky's shots on the live coverage here because he just carded a 5.
Wow. So yeah, that reaction, now so much more clear. Big moment right there. Boy, unbeknownst to us. We apologize for that, of course, but boy, man.
Yeah, I believe that he was in the shul on the right, and what I believe happened is he probably pitched out while we were waiting for Paul Ulibarri to make his approach. There was a long delay there, so Ricky not able to get up and down for birdie, and we're going to throw it to the hole preview for hole 13, a very important moment here as they exit the woods, tied at the top at 36 down.
Yeah, and here we are, as you said, hole 13. 555 feet. Really what we're looking at here is you want to avoid that Mando on the right as we pass it, and the players are going to try to play down into that lower left-hand area. The further left they are, the more open it is into the green of 400, 450, something like that down on the left is important. And Jeff, from a player's perspective, for me, coming out of these woods tied, now it's anybody's game. Now it's tough, more difficult to predict.
Yeah, this is a dream final round for us to be watching and commentating on, Nate. And you talked a little bit before, I mentioned it on the last hole, but the style of play shifts a little bit right now. We were in the woods and we saw the scores and players struggle in the past as they transition to the more open park-like golf that we saw in the first 3 holes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they haven't been here in 9 holes at this point. And just look at that, though. Alex Russell, 14 through 16. Boy, just amazing scores. But kind of so-so scores from a lot of the other players at this point. Wysocki only 6 down. But, I mean, tied for the lead. So, but, yeah, you're right. The transition at this point is so important. And we have everybody now. They kind of take a little bit of a long walk. They have to come kind of out of the woods and down and around. And I can tell you that both Wysocki and McBeth are locked in right now.
And we see Ulibarri first to tee, coming off a string of 4 straight birdies, really taking the initiative on this back 9, wanting to finish strong. Oh, unfortunately, he hit one of the first available trees. He's taking that punch-through route on the left that some players do like to take. Maybe questioning that decision.
Yeah, I have no idea why Paul's doing that, unless he feels as if he's going to be able to just get one down there, 350, 375, and have a sidearm in. This fairway is not that difficult to hit. Just a couple of big trees. You can see the gap they're trying to hit, and I don't know. We'll move on.
Paul McBeth taking it straight down the biggest gap available. There are a couple options here, and it looks like he's got a clean flight on the disc. Massive crush. He is up there on the left side, having just tied it back up with Ricky's par last 2 holes. Ricky, having reclaimed the momentum previously, now back in a tie for the lead. Man, it is a heavyweight title bout here at Waco.
Yeah, and again, interesting for me to see this sidearm play. Ricky feeling confident with it and getting plenty of D out there, not too far from McBeth. So, at this point, yeah, of course, the players can go that way. But, man, that was a big shot by McBeth and Wysocki.
Yeah, unbelievable. We're in the home stretch, the final 6 holes, 2/3 of the way down this final round. It's been fun watching Emerson Keith. He wants to get off the par schneid, as we've seen the Waco Annual Charity Open turn into kind of a birdie fest if you want to compete.
Yeah, look at the scores. We're 36 down. The winner last year, I believe, was 31.
That's correct.
And so, yeah, we're already 5 strokes ahead of that for our leaders. Right now, Yuli's tied for 5th, and he would be he's tied for 5th, and he's at 31 under par. So, but it has to be mentioned, Alex Russell, good for Alex. Wonderful final round. Something that's important, too. I mean, we were talking about being on tour. This gives him confidence for wherever he may play next. I don't know if he's coming back up to Washington or going to continue on, but, boy, I mean, big confidence boost for him in this final round.
Yeah, absolutely. He is sponsored. He's an Innova-sponsored player. And as you mentioned, he's from the Pacific Northwest, so we expect to see him on this West Coast swing. I believe he bought a first half tour pass, Nate.
Oh, good. Yeah, good. I mean, in that case, he can continue on and go off these good vibes. But man, Paul Ulibarri not playing this 13th hole well at all. The transition for him out of the woods is not going as well as he would expect. And I guess what I personally would expect of him as well. At this point, Wysocki and McBeth is really what everybody wants to know about.
Yeah, and as we approach their second shots after great drives by our leaders, looking a little bit deeper into Alex Russell's stats, where he's really shining is circle 1 in regulation. He is 3rd overall in this event at getting it inside the circle. So his accuracy is high. He's keeping it in the middle. 5th overall, 90% of the fairways he has hit. And I know we don't have any pictures of Alex, but I'm sure we'll see how he finishes. He's through 16, and he's got the hot round of the day going here at Waco. We'll throw it to Texas native Emerson Keith as he approaches this 13th green. great shot, and the action's coming fast and furious as we're coming down the stretch here. We've got some pictures previously of our chase card. We may see a couple more as we come home, and the crowds are building. This is a big shot here. Ricky Wysocki approaching. He doesn't want to make a mistake on this simple upshot.
Yeah, he wants this close. And I would consider that close.
Yeah, the skip, skizzle, and roll brings it within 15 feet of the basket, something he's not really going to have to think too hard about. Paul McBeth, though, we still haven't gotten to his monster drive, and Uli with his third.
Yeah, Uli will just get a par here at best, and we will see where McBeth is up here on the left. You know, last year in the final round, he did have an eagle opportunity on this hole, and let's see.
Going to have to be a throw.
Yeah, it's going to be a toss in at this point if it does happen.
You think he gives us a buzz or just nestles it up?
I believe he's going to give this a little baby run. Oh,
going out wide.
Oh, yeah, he had hooked on his finger, and you know what? He was just playing that for that shot. So proving us wrong, but sticking with his game plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we're going to see two birdies here. If Ricky can convert, ball's under the basket, and our leaders are starting to pick up some steam as we head into the final 5 holes of the event. The crowd also picking up steam, and I wonder if the wind's picking up. The flag is blowing, and it could be a factor.
Yeah, it just seems as if we get later in the day out here at this Beast course, the wind is almost a non-factor. I mean, it's barely moving. I mean, a little bit, but nothing that these players aren't used to dealing with. That's for sure.
I mean, you mentioned it's kind of gusty, right? So 9 miles an hour is the lowest average we've seen. To your point, it's not whipping, but once in a while it will give you a gust, and I don't think that was a step away because of the wind. That's got to be a little bit of frustration with the crowd.
It definitely is. There's a lot of movement back there. I mean, we can see it. You can, people that are, 150 feet away, but players catch that movement.
Yeah, good to see him regroup and make that putt. We saw it on hole 8. He was not too happy with a little bit of the distraction, but he's done well to battle through it and save his par. Ricky gets that one to stick. Wanted to come back out at him, but the rim keeps it in. And our final 2 competitors going to tap in here, and we're going to move on to the Zuka Cart sponsored hole 14 here at the Waco Annual Charity Open. Let's take a peek at the hole preview.
You're right there. There's the Zuka Castle, as us players have called it over the years. Yep, we're on hole 14, the longest par 3 of the entire tournament at just 303 feet. I think in normal, I would expect to see players birdieing this hole. It's a great sidearm look on this hole into this little side hill green. The path on the left side has come into play, and we're all the way up on hole 15 for our chase card. So we could be zooming to the finish at this point.
Yeah, we'll get some pictures throughout the final few holes of both the chase and the lead. Great work by our media crew out on the course. Here's Big Germ Coling with a forehand approach. He plays this hole like a fiddle normally. He's won the event the last 2 years on a playoff on this hole, and you can see why, Nate. He nestles that right up, and it rings around the rosy for a drop in at the basket. Cutting back, here's Paul McBeth. He's going forehand, trying to work it left to right. Let's see if he can put it in the circle.
Yeah, is it pocket full of posy? Is that the next part of that?
I was saving that for hole 15, man.
But yeah, I really expect these players to birdie this hole. It's not. He's always tickled.
And it's okay. You don't see the catch cam there, but he was a little nervous. You saw him with a little bounce in his step as it tickled the foliage, but it lands just on the right side of the basket. We believe he's going to be around circle's edge for his birdie putt. Can Ricky respond as they go back and forth, back and forth? Another forehand from Wysocki. He's pulled it, but it's hyzering back.
Oh, this is going to be money. This is money. Oh. Yeah, and the good, strong fist pump.
And you can feel the energy building, Nate. The crowd went crazy for that. These people are drinking it and loving it as we see Emerson going for the forehand as well. A little more turn than he probably would have liked, but here it comes back. He's on the left side, probably a little short as well.
Yeah. It seems like such a simple hole, to be honest with you, but it can be tricky. It's still 303 feet, but yeah, this should be a birdie for Uli right here. As long as he misses that, keep going.
Could he cash it? Oh, buzzing the basket a little short. Great line from Paul Ulibarri. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
And we look at this view right here. I mean, the flags aren't moving much, Jeff, at all. And Emerson with the furthest from the pin. Now, it was earlier today we saw Vanessa Van Dyken hit this basket off the tee with a backhand. That was amazing.
What a throw! One of the best shots of the tournament that we've seen on camera. Obviously, we did have a couple aces today. Kind of out of the opportunity now to catch an ace on film, as we see Emerson come up just a little short.
And we didn't have the catch cam look on this one, but I believe all the other guys are. Yeah, here we go. This is Macbeth. He's the furthest away.
Just clean up some birdies here.
And this is what I would expect. And we didn't see it through the first 2 rounds, but 3 out of 4. This is what these guys should be doing on a hole like this.
Yeah. And really excited to be on the call here at the Waco Annual Charity Open, presented by Dynamic Disc, as our competitors come down the stretch. Huge, exciting action. Let's throw it over to the hole preview for the next hole. We're going to 15, the playoff hole, in case there is a playoff. So it's important to see how they play this, Nate.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay.
And Nate, we love calling live disc golf. There's nothing like it.
We do. And the one thing is technology gets just as excited as we do. And I will tell you, it is true. This is a great view to see what our players are doing with. Macbeth is ready. And as I was saying right before our mics did cut out just for a moment there, it's one of those things where it depends on how the players want to play this hole. The OB could be not a factor. Interesting to see Macbeth with a backhand here. This seems more aggressive.
Green? Could he be going for the green? He can throw it as far as this hole is. I mean, it's what, 558? Power up.
It needs to flex. It needs to flex. Oh, and we lost it. The reaction was, as we would think. I believe that went OB. We'll find out here in a minute. That's unbelievable. I honestly can't believe it.
Yeah, I could kind of sense it from his body language and the way he was approaching the tee. Tied here, trying to make a statement as Ricky decides to stick to his game plan, play the safe hyzer. He's in a good position, and we can't wait to see where Paul's disc landed. If it did go over the fence, it probably was far enough for him to still save his par. But if it's over, he is probably going to cede a stroke to Rick. Ulibarri's got this up high. It is going to challenge the fence, and it's going to go over the fence.
Yeah, that's a terrible shot by Paul Ulibarri. This hole just playing right into his strength. Just a nice little sling sidearm.
Hard to trust it over that road, but you do have to throw it further left, challenging the left side OB instead of the right, letting it skip back in. Paul not able to execute there. Let's see if Emerson can put a good move on it. Going backhand, kind of throwing straight out of bounds, and there's no hope for that one. It's skipping, and it's going to challenge some spectators. He's not happy. And, you know, it's kind of incredible how pivotal this hole 15 is. We've seen it yesterday in the FPO coverage. Paige Bjerk is just losing all the momentum on this hole, deciding to be aggressive. And has Paul McBeth done the same thing?
Yeah, and I don't want to take a break here because this is the moment of the tournament. It's the moment of the tournament. We have to see where Paul McBeth went, and his reaction wasn't good. But, Jeff, it goes to, again, Paul's own words, McBeth's own words. Play these holes shorter. Take the birdies. You know, and I know this is a chess match, but, boy, you know, I mean, 17 right now, if you looked at it, 17 is the place where we could make that change. 17 and 18. You just birdie 15 and 16,
and then
stay
maybe
and go.
choosing to be aggressive there.
Yeah, I mean,
but I mean, it was pretty clear he was gearing up and going for the green. Probably something he practiced, but not really in line with the game plan he spoke to before. UDisc not helping us out here. We do see UDisc reporting Ulibarri and Keith out of bounds, but we still do not see McBeth's update. He is holding the fence there. And we're going to watch Paul Ulibarri make his mark.
Yeah, and Yuli, I mean, he's got to be unhappy right now. I mean, I'm not.
He's in the tie.
I'm not laughing at Paul, but
he can still par this hole, and we'll see how he approaches as he's going to the forehand again. He needs a little bit more distance than he would like to have to put on this throw, but. With the awkward lie, it looks like he's going to throw a little bit of an Annie flex here. Let's see what he does. He does work it. It's fading back in. Looks like it's going to be safe, and he'll have a putt for par. Deep sigh of a relief there. A little disappointment that he's not going to be putting for birdie. And we're working our way up the fairway with bated breath here, Nate.
Yeah, our camera guy's got to keep an eye on McBeth. We see Emerson at this point just lining up. This is his third shot. Yeah, I'm to be honest with you, Jeff. I mean, maybe this story will pan out in front of us here, but I'm blown away with the decision of Paul McBeth. I just there's Ricky's drive. Okay, so that's where Ricky landed. We still have not seen anything from Paul quite yet.
Yeah, and again, we're not sure. You know, if you viewers at home, could tell, we couldn't hear in the booth. So, Ricky with a quick play. We don't see where that finishes. Really, you got to get the catch cam angle a little quicker here, as Paul does look like he is marking.
Well. Is his disc? No, his disc is right there.
Disc is right there, and it's inbounds.
Wow.
The aggressive decision seemingly paying off. He may have hit the fence. We didn't see a reaction from him. We didn't really hear a boisterous reaction from the crowd or competitors, but he's in a good position after hitting the fence, and he's on an approach with a simple up and down now for birdie.
And that, I mean, he left himself with maybe 20 feet. To me, Jeff, though, and yeah, he is in bounds. Okay, so well, maybe we didn't know what we were talking about. But even the people that were keeping the score on UDisc weren't sure until they came up and they saw it on the ground there. So it says a lot to me about the mentality right now. It says a lot about the thought process of a player like Paul McBeth. I just didn't see that 15 or 16 are a place to make the move. I feel like 17 and 18, at this point are the place. It's a chess match.
Here's Ricky. This is a huge putt. Any putt now can determine this tournament because you're going to give the initiative to the other player. Step through. Oh, and off the band. Unbelievable line. The crowd groans, and Ricky just can't believe it. In a great position off this drive, just leaving his upshot short, having to take the knee. Unbelievable action here at the Beast. Man, what else can this tournament and this course throw at us? We're kind of in disbelief at the action on hole 15. And as we mentioned at the start, this is the first of 4 playoff holes that they will play on loop if indeed Ricky and Paul do go to a playoff.
Do you realize, Jeff, and Yuli giving it a decent effort, but do you realize that Ricky put it in the middle, throws a bad upshot, hits the tree, now misses. Now Macbeth's got the putt for birdie to now take the 1-stroke lead. I mean, unbelievable. Just unbelievable.
And we've seen them go back and forth. You know, it was a relatively calm first 8 holes as we see another splash out. Feeling a little bit bad for Emerson. He's had a lot of those today, drawn a lot of metal, and not seen a lot of those putts go in. But as we get ready for a big putt here, should be no problem. Paul McBeth to take the solo lead with 3 to go. And he gets it to stick, grabbing the right side of the chains. Wow, what drama. The crowd loves it. The tension's building as we come down this home stretch. 3 to play, all par 4s. Let's take a look at the whole preview for hole 16.
And here we go, hole 16. Just 3 holes left to play, 585 feet. Really nothing in the way. The left out of bounds isn't a problem for any one of our players. The right OB can come into play if they pull it just a little bit. But really, you want to leave the drive over here on the left side and attack from a little bit more. That branch right there does come into play for our players. We will see right now with what we've seen. It'll be interesting to see what Ricky does. And as we just come up to the tee here, we'll see how Ricky decides to play this hole. I believe that Paul should play it the way we all anticipate, which is just a low power drive up on that left side, giving himself an opportunity for birdie. But there also is the possibility to throw rollers on this hole. We saw an eagle air shot from Garrett Gerthy last year. So
this was a pivotal hole where Big Drum did eagle this on his march to victory last year. Let's see what Paul decides to do. He is extremely aggressive on the last hole. The crowd's building, the drama's increasing with each hole. 3 to go. Paul McBeth on the tee, thanks to Infinite Discs for sponsoring hole 16 at the Waco Annual Charity Open, presented by Dynamic Discs.
And exactly as I explained, Paul taking the low power shot, finishing on that left side, giving himself the opportunity. These are his own words. This is how he wants to play these holes.
And Ricky faltering on 15. How will he approach the 16?
I think Ricky just conceding a birdie opportunity here and doing probably what I said. And now those players are within 15 feet of each other, but doing what I said. I mean, let's make 17 and 18 be what it comes down to. But advantage Paul McBeth right now, for sure.
Yeah, Nate, you are correct. All of our players playing wide left, giving themselves a nice angle in. Paul is not too pleased with that. He was a little higher, a little wider than he would like to be, as we watch our Texas native Emerson Keith working on a 3-down round. Not what he wanted, but still trying to bring it home strong for this Texas crowd. Going up the gut and a turnover to a cut roll. We're going to throw it to commercial. We'll be right back here at Waco. We've got a classic battle on our hands as we bring it back to the booth. I'm Jeff Spring, joined by three-time world champ Nate Dawson. Speaking of majors, this is starting to have that special feel as Ricky and Paul battle down the stretch, Nate.
Yeah, it's amazing how sometimes just a regular tour event, and I'm not saying that in any bad way, just a tour event can have just an elevated feel. And I think this tournament really does. I think at this point, Ricky conceding the birdie here. Of course, he still has to birdie, and so does Paul. But really conceding to say, okay, let's go into 17, see what can happen. And this has got that drama to it for sure. There's no doubt. And I just want to mention, as we were just talking, look at Alex Russell's scorecard, a 16 down in the clubhouse for Alex Russell,
which would have been a course record if Paul McBeth didn't go perfect yesterday with the 18 down, 16 under. Unbelievable. Alex Russell, relatively little-known name, throwing down the gauntlet for the rest of the field, taking firm control of third place. Eagle McMahon only one back with 2 to play, though, as we watch the third place battle continue. Lots of disc golf action as we come down the stretch here. Of course, we've got the main event for you here on hole 16. Paul Ulibarri trying to get into the top 5. He's tied for 6th. Can he nestle it up?
And we actually did see Emerson's disc come in there. That's what that disc. Ooh, nice. Emerson throwing. Uli was thinking he was out, but either way, they got it worked out there. And now the 2 big shots that the entire tournament is keeping their eye on. And again, it seemed as if Ricky had decided, okay, well, I'm not going to worry about this one. And he just needs to make this shot. You can see exactly what he's dealing with his closest competitor just 15 feet in front. And really, folks at home, this is about 135 to 145 feet.
Leaking left. All right, he's got it about 15 feet away. We were watching that a little closer because he missed his last upshot, opening the door for Paul to really have the tournament in his grasp now. Almost fitting after a historic round yesterday.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Wow, the drama continues.
Oh boy.
McBeth not with the highest quality of upshots, Nate.
No, not at all. And we have to just stick with these guys right now because, this is now the shot of the tournament. It's coming up.
We're going to have many of those coming down the stretch here. Paul McBeth on circle's edge, looking to be just inside the circle. But he's going to be first to play as he is furthest away after his upshot. Funny how that works sometimes. Best drive, worst approach.
If this is round 1, okay, Paul, this is another, what do we have here? About 20, let's just call it 25 right now. But this is 3 holes left with a 1-stroke lead. And this guy's got ice in his veins, but the pressure is up here.
Right in the heart. Paul McBeth does not blink. Here on the 16th hole, keeps a 1-stroke lead. Throws the pressure over to Ricky, who has a much shorter putt. Shouldn't have any trouble with this one, Nate. But, man, he's got to be a little disheartened after Paul opens the door crack, but then slams it right back shut. Only 2 to go. He's running out of time here at the Beast.
Well, yeah, he is running out of time, but we have the big hole 17, the one that could change it all. And it's been such a pivotal point for so many of these tournaments played out here.
Let's get over and get a whole preview of this very important 17th. We've seen the tournament won and lost on this hole, Nate. What can we expect today?
Yeah, hole 17, I think just one of the most brilliantly designed holes of the course. 610 feet. It's really a position shot off of the tee. And we see our players landing in so many different positions and really being challenged with a lot of different looks. If you end up right here, you have a bigger sidearm. If you get down into the low, it's a straight shot. But now we turn the corner. We have water on the left, OB on the right, and a peninsula that at the green, at the pin is about 45 or 50 feet wide. And we might get to catch just a little bit of our chase card as we come around this corner. But, our player's now walking over Paul McBeth with the 1-stroke lead. And if I'm in that position, I'm thinking, okay, I know exactly how I want to play these 2 holes. And really, it's up to Ricky at this point. I mean, Ricky has to make the shots to put the pressure on. Any misstep by Ricky right now, all of a sudden, Paul feels a little bit more confident.
Yeah, absolutely. And McBeth needing to go birdie eagle to pretty much slam the door on any hope Wysocki could have. We'll see how he plays it. 17 is so critical, as you said. The up shots to this green are what the viewers at home should really focus on, because we've got a very small landing zone, water on the left, a Pro Tour wall on the right, and you can see these competitors just trying to keep it loose. Paul's very happy about that last putt he's made, and maybe we'll get a couple scenes from the chase card as these players just kind of settle in here on this 17th tee.
Well, yeah, and as you said, I mean, birdie eagle, right? So, of course, the player that has the lead with only 2 holes to go can pretty much guarantee their destiny if they can do that. They can get the best scores on the, and now with just 2 holes to play. But really, it's about Ricky, and Ricky will play second as we get onto this. I believe McBeth has the tee, so he will play second. But it really is about Ricky executing at this point, and maybe Paul ends up with just a little bit more of a putt, and maybe Ricky's parked. So as a player, I'm running the hundreds of scenarios that could possibly happen. But boy, what we've seen up to this point now with these guys at 40 and 39 under par.
Absolutely. The drama continues to build, each hole more significant than the next. It looks like we're ready on the tee. Paul McBeth, hole 17, Waco Annual Charity Open, presented by Dynamic. Huge tee shot right here. Oh, and he likes it. He's put it in a similar position to yesterday as he was coming down the stretch for a perfect round. He's going to have a nice look, and it looks like he needs just to get up and in to keep his 1-stroke lead. Ricky Wysocki.
Yeah, Rick did this yesterday too, playing a little bit of a wider look. And, both of our players now, and I don't want to overlook the other 2 players in this group at all, but, I mean, we're talking about the tournament now, and both players fist pumping. Now, I will tell you this. Yesterday we saw Paul McBeth leave himself a 28-footer, and yesterday it was about him shooting 18 under par. He was in this similar position, left himself a 28-footer from what seemed like he should be within 10 or 15. And so we'll see if any of those memories come back or if he makes the adjustment. Either way, on 17, you have to be bold going over on that shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we see our other 2 competitors on the lead card throw their tee shots of note, Eagle McMahon, who had a great 12 under round going onto this hole, just carded a double bogey. So he falls out of the top 10, kind of making way for Paul Ulibarri, tied for 6th with him, but Paul can come in and crack the top 5. We're going to throw to a quick break and be right back with more action down the stretch of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Here to the Beast Course, Brazos Park East. We're here at the final moments of the Waco Annual Charity Open presented by DD, and we've got a battle on our hands. We've talked about it all afternoon. It's a heavyweight fight between 2 of the best in the world and 2 iconic disc golf figures in our sport, Paul McBeth and Ricky Wysocki. Paul coming off one of the greatest rounds in disc golf history, running 18 down just to get in the mix yesterday, and here he is with a 1-stroke lead, approaching one of the most deadly greens on this course, the green of the 17th, Nate. And our players are about to approach.
Yeah, and let's play a little game of pitch and catch here. We'll see our players throw, and we'll see them come into that green.
17 waiting.
And it'll be important for us to see these discs come in and see where they land.
You can see they have to take it out over the water on Heiser. Go to the catch cam, and oh, it was a dangerous play, but he is on the short side of the green with the tap in.
That's that bold look. Look at the crowd we have. You have a huge crowd watching Eagle and Simon playing 18. The 18 fairway is locked in. We're about to see, and you can see the fans just jumping around, excited. I mean, we're about to see a stadium look here at the Beast Course as our leaders come in, but the fans are just enjoying this amazing play. And as a player, this is what you want.
Talked a little bit about call and response. Let's see if Ricky can set the stage. It's got a Heiser back in. It's fighting, and he lands it in bounds. He gets the green flag, saved by the grip 6 wall. Unbelievable. On the edge of the circle. Gonna have a putt for birdie. How will Macbeth respond? He's put the pressure on Paul to throw it in bounds and maybe put it a little closer.
Well, that was a nervy shot there by Wysocki as it had a little bit more heat. And again, that lower angle, you just come into that hard pan with a little flatter angle. Paul able to just have a standstill sidearm here, throwing his Predator. You know, now Ricky's got a 33-footer, and Paul can just put the pressure on with it, just if he's within 15 feet.
He takes it out wide. It looks like it's Heisering to the fat side of the green, and it sticks right on circle's edge. Ricky will putt first, as you mentioned. Going to be a very important putt for Rick. Paul doesn't love it. He knows he's going to have to make a putt here to keep his lead potentially.
It's exactly what Macbeth did yesterday, from the exact same position. So that memory's sticking strong with him, and it'll be interesting to see who does putt first here, because I believe Ricky will get a meter, and it might be Macbeth putting first. So we'll see what happens here. But Emerson coming in with a nice angle, just a little bit short for him, but inside the circle.
And I can't imagine being in the position of Rick or Paul here. We've got a major-like feel with the crowd building. I'm shaking in the booth. I can't imagine having to make a circle's edge putt under this kind of pressure. I mean, they have just been at it all day, playing excellent under the stress. Paul Macbeth 12 down, Ricky 9, hoping to cash his putt from just outside the circle to put the pressure back on Macbeth.
Yeah, and it was just over an hour ago, about an hour and 18 minutes ago, that Ricky went from disaster to an eagle on the 9th hole and really flipping this tournament upside down. And here we go. This is just a perfect look of our two leaders. And let's see, I mean, where's the meter put Ricky? 1, 2, yeah. Ricky might just say, okay, I'm going to take it and put the pressure on. I think he's definitely doing that. So here it is.
It's just low, and Ricky may have given the tournament to Paul with a miss from circle's edge. He is not happy, hand on his hip, and Paul Macbeth to really seize control going on to the last hole with the cherry on top of an incredible performance this weekend. And it's good. Macbeth extends his lead to 2 here on the pivotal 17th hole at Waco. Unbelievable stuff and just beautiful pictures. High drama here. I'm just loving it, Nate.
Yeah, heart of a champion, and no fans down here on this peninsula. I just love that. It's a stadium for these players. It's nice and quiet. Just the cameras, the spotter, and them. But I will tell you, and that was a nice putt there by Emerson. And I really got to give Emerson a big hand for sticking in there, representing Texas well. And you can see that look on Ricky's face.
Look of dejection. I mean, what a performance this weekend. Seemingly all for naught for a second place finish. What a heavyweight fight here. It's just been a joy to watch these two real icons of our sport go back and forth as Ulibarri makes his birdie, trying to sneak into 5th, and we're going to go to the 18th hole preview here at the Waco Annual Charity Open. Nate, what do we have?
And there it is, the Lake of Destiny here. If you get over, you win, Paul McBeth. And I think at this point, if Paul McBeth doesn't throw it in that water over that wall to the right, this tournament is his. A birdie seals his fate, minus a hole-in-one by Ricky. But eagle possibilities here. We saw both Ricky and McBeth take eagles on this hole yesterday. And I think the big question right now for me is, from a player's perspective, does Paul lay up? And that's the big question, because and I preach this a lot, it all comes down to preparation. How did Paul McBeth prep this hole? Has he thrown this layup before? Has he not? He clearly has enough distance to get over. So we just see our fans. I mean, look at the crowd. But yeah, Jeff, I'm really going to be interested to see what McBeth does here.
And a quick check. Seppo has finished. He is tied for 3rd with Alex Russell. Paul Ulibarri tied for 5th with James Conrad and Eagle McMahon, who took a 3 on the final hole, bouncing back from that double. We've got a jam-packed leaderboard, a big tie for 5th as we get ready to see this lead group tee off. And it is not over. Yes, that was a pivotal moment. Paul McBeth has a cushion. He's probably feeling comfortable. But as you mentioned, there's some options to decide here. We expect him to go over after he pinned it for a perfect 18 down yesterday, Nate. But, the crowd is waiting. We're waiting. I can't wait to see these final drives as the players shake hands. Let's listen in.
Hey, you gotta watch out, bud. Okay. He's gonna go.
And it is McBeth, first on the tee.
So it's the same disc from yesterday. So McBeth answering the question I had.
He's going over.
He is going over. And at this point, if this disc is not in the water, I believe he wins this tournament.
He's got it out on Heiser again. It looks like he put a good move on it.
It's over. It's over.
And the crowd goes wild. Paul McBeth is going to be your 2019 Waco Annual Charity Open champion. Unbelievable stuff. Almost fitting, because he was historic yesterday, carrying that wave of history into a victory here today. Final round. Let's see if Paul Ulibarri can finish his round in the top 5. And he is safe just outside the circle. So that pretty much cements a top 5 finish for Paul Ulibarri. Great performance all week. And here we throw it to the Texas kid, up-and-coming star, Emerson Keith. He's in 12th. He's going over as well.
It has to be mentioned, if Yuli makes that putt, he will put himself in a tie for 3rd with 3 bogeys on the round. Incredible play by Paul Ulibarri. A little bit of up and down.
He's a fighter, though, Nate, as we see Emerson's drive. Looking good. Did he have enough D? I think he did. I think he's dry, but we cannot quite tell. Here's a big moment. Ricky needing to ace this hole to force a playoff, it looks like, with par. With Paul parked under the basket. Here's Ricky going for the basket. He's out wide. He's going to have this skip in.
Go in.
Oh, and he's long. He gave it a chance. He's in bounds. He's going to have a putt, but he's locked up now. Second place, you can see he's not too pleased as we find out that Emerson's drive did go in the water. A little disappointing finish for a great tournament, and we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to throw it to commercial just for a moment, and we'll be right back here at Waco. Welcome back. What a scene here at Waco. We're all taking deep breaths as the tournament has been decided. All that's left is the pomp and circumstance, and you can see Paul there, newly crowned Waco champion at this point. Unbelievable score. He's at 4,100 par. He's 13 down for the day, much lower than last year. Nate, what's going through your head as a multi-time champion of the biggest events in the sport?
Well, what I'm really thinking is that we got something special today. We really did, and unfortunately, you see Ricky just ahead there, and Ricky has nothing to hang his head about. And he did make, I believe it just goes back to 15. It all goes back to 15. The mistake, we thought McBeth was OB, he wasn't, but then the missed upshot. And it all comes back down to that. But, McBeth, and really these guys at their best, they never give anybody a break, and they don't give each other breaks either. And so it's just one of those things that I absolutely love seeing it. There's a big part of me that wishes I was right there to battle with them, but I'm also happy to be here and get to see it. And it's definitely just a much more different perspective, and we know Emerson's disc is close. I think the question is if he did hit on this side.
Seems like they have established that, and as we wait for this crowning moment, Nate, we see Ulibarri chipping up, and he's going to take his birdie, it looks like, and he's going to move into solo possession of fifth place, leaving three other players in sixth. And as Emerson digs this out, you mentioned you're taking a break from the sport, and we're very excited for Bevel Craft Brewing opening in the near future, scheduled for April 6th, in the official tap room of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, as we see Emerson lining up his mark. It seems like they've established where he went out. He'd like to end this with a birdie. Judging the wind. Representing Texas here. The crowd wants to see this go in. Oh, just off the rim. That's the story of the day for Emerson Keith. He's had a lot of great putts just draw metal and not fall. And here's Ricky Wysocki with an eagle putt. He's at 39 This is to temporarily tie Paul McBeth at 41. As we know, Paul is nestled under the basket for his eagle. And just a little bit low for Rick. I'm sure he's a little bit deflated. He was leading this event for a good portion of yesterday and today. He can't be feeling great, but he has nothing to hang his head about. He treated us and all the disc golf fans watching this live coverage to quite the treat of an event.
Yeah, big round of applause for Ricky Wysocki. That was a hell of a performance, and unfortunately just got beat by a player that was also playing at his absolute peak performance.
And as we see the other competitors tap out, the crowd appreciative. Here's Paul McBeth. 2019 Waco Annual Charity Open champion, presented by Dynamic Disc. And the crowd is showing their love, Nate.
Yeah, they really are, and so are the other players. And here's the big, oh yeah, there's the TD.
Ryan Draper, what a great job. Thinking we're going to get a live listen-in for his announcement of Paul McBeth to this massive crowd.
Once we get the score
And just we want everybody to at home to stick with us. We are going to have an interview of Paul McBeth, and we can get a little bit of a listen into what his thoughts are about today. I know I'm interested to hear that. I always love hearing the players.
Absolutely. And as we prepare for that, you're giving us great insight into the competitor's mindset and how they're feeling. I'll take a quick moment to thank the TV, Ryan Draper. I know how he's feeling, having run the Pro Worlds last year, numerous Pro Tour events, and his team just did an incredible job putting this production together. It's all only possible because of Ryan Draper and his team at Waco. Thank you, volunteers. Thank you, staff members. This is a year of preparation for that team coming to fruition, and it couldn't have come to fruition any better. Stunning action throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, and Paul McBeth having to wait 365 days to lift the trophy when it looked like the trophy would have been his last year as well. And the players just coming up the hill, they will finish out their scorecard, and we'll get that card turned in, and then we will hear from Paul McBeth.
3.
And of course, we will let you listen into that. But yeah, having to wait a full year.
Emerson.
And not only did he have to wait a full year, he won it in a fashion that I believe is going to give him a massive boost. And after the decision that Paul McBeth made over the offseason, this is really icing on the cake for him. And we've seen all the players that make these decisions really the best of the best. And so congratulations to Paul, of course.
Yeah, and let's take a quick peek at the scoreboard here. I just wanted to recognize a couple other great performances. Eric Oakley, who we saw on the feature card, has come in 11th after a 14-down round today. The reigning world champ Greg Barsby is tied for 13th after 13 down. Of course, our Texas native featured today, Emerson Keith, he is 12th. And then let's look at the top 10. Perfect timing for our scoreboard to pop up. What stands out to you there, Nate?
Really not much. I think the big thing right there is Alex Russell in third. I mean, all the names we look at there, Lazat, Perkins, Colling, Mann, Conrad, Yuli, Hayu. Alex, of the top 10 is the name that we're just not used to seeing. And so congratulations to him. A 16 under par. And we got to say this, too. McBeth shot a 15. So, it just goes to show you when you're good, you're good.
We're going to listen in live, throwing it to Seth Fenley of the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Yes, yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, just want you to see her wear her shoes on. They're also using their gears. Awesome. We're here at the Waco Annual Charity Open presented by Dynamic Disc with our tournament champion, Paul McBeth. Paul McBeth, after shooting 18 down yesterday, you were able to come out here and bring home the victory. How does it feel?
It feels good. I mean, it wasn't an 18 under, but today was a lot more stressful than that, so it feels good.
Yeah, it's stressful. You had a lot of lead changes today. How did you handle each of those, and which one did you feel like finally sort of gave you the oomph to push forward?
The last stroke that I got over here on 15, I think, yeah, 15. So that was one that he kind of gave me. He was in a good position, and he just gave me that one, and I just had to run with it. And I almost gave it back on those 2-up shots, but I was able to convert the putt. And then that's one on 17, I sealed it.
Yeah, so on 17, you sealed it. You're walking up to 18. What was the thought process on throwing over the water, laying up, and then going across?
Oh, it was go across it the way. Just go past it. If I went past the basket, at least and went out of bounds, I'd still at least have a putt for 3, and he'd have to 2 it. So just get across, and that was a shot that I threw almost perfect the first 2 days. And today, no wind, I just went a little lower line, but it was just as close as yesterday, so it made it pretty easy.
Awesome. So with your first victory out here at the Waco Charity Open, do you feel like you finally got your disc practice dialed in?
I think I've had them dialed. It was really just putting, and that was all, mechanical issue. I think that I missed 2 inside the circle all weekend, and that's pretty good for how high of winds we had. So today I missed the first one on the first hole, and after that I've never had any lapse confidence at all. So.
Awesome. So anything that you want to say before we wrap up to your fans, friends, or sponsors?
Yeah, I mean, just thank you Discrafts, thank you Foundation Disc Golf, Grip 6 Belts, my wife at home, my dog, and everyone watching, my family. So and thank you everyone that came out. I mean, this is an incredible crowd. So I look forward to playing here again and hopefully attacking it just as I did yesterday.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. This has been the Waco Annual Charity Open presented by Dynamic Disc. I'm Seth Finley with the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Our next stop will be the Jonesboro Open in April, so make sure to tune in and watch. Have a great day.
Take that one down, too.
And welcome back to the studio. I'm Jeff Spring, your host, here with three-time world champ Nate Dawson. We're going to end the show here, Nate. A stunning afternoon at the Beast, Brazos Park East, at the 2019 Waco Annual Charity Open, presented by Dynamic Discs. We're going to just take a couple closing thoughts here on, just one of the most scintillating events that we've seen in a while on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Well, and I would say, man, I mean, almost really the first three tournaments of this year have been a lot of fun to watch on both the men and the women's side. So a lot to take in. Katrina Allen showing that she's still in for the dogfight, actually dominating towards the end of this tournament. But on the men's side, of course, what we just watched, it all comes down to hole 15 and the upshot that Ricky missed and then Paul being in bounds. And it just goes to show you, and you hear Paul there at the end. And I said that I like hearing the players, and it's because you really get an insight to what they're truly feeling. And I always love doing post-round interviews. You can kind of open up, especially after you've won.
Right.
And so it was great to hear Paul there, but it just goes to show you his mentality, that cool, calm mentality. But really, ultimately, got to thank everybody, thank all the staff. The Beast really gave us something to talk about this year. And I know the next event for the Disc Golf Pro Tour is Jonesboro, and we'll move on to that one. But I guess here on this St. Patty's weekend gave us something to remember, and I just want everybody to remember to be safe out there on this weekend. Have some fun, celebrate, of course, and Jeff, I'm tired. That was fun.
That was fun. Oh, man, I can't imagine doing anything more fun on this Saturday afternoon than calling live disc golf with you, Nate. Appreciate your time. We appreciate the Disc Golf Pro Tour media staff that did a great job out there. Everybody lined up with many cameras, great pictures throughout the day. And, of course, thanking Dynamic Discs who made this possible and the team there at Waco led by Ryan Draper. Big thanks to everyone. We're all feeling grateful after a wonderful afternoon of disc golf, and hey, we're early in the season, the events are stacking up, so tune back into the Disc Golf Pro Tour and we'll see you at Jonesboro.
Wrap.